believe that I am the best person for the job of President of the United States. My unique talents give me the ability to be assertive and diplomatic at the same time. I'm a person who will spike the conversation, who will get politics rolling and stimulate new questions and new answers to our current political dilemma facing our nation. I believe I have a keen understanding of the economy and how to improve where we're at relative to other nations around the world. I believe that our goal at America's Third Party was to create a very strong platform in which would propel the American people forward with new opportunities and a new possibility of creating a better nation, a cleaner environment, and less war. Person for the job of President of the United States. My unique talents give me the ability to be assertive and diplomatic at the same time.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to America's Third Party. I'm David Sponheim, here again for Sustainable Saturday. Formerly the Anti-War Rally Saturday, but as you know, I've been very effective at holding back war in Syria. Donald Trump copied my ideas throughout the entire 2016 race, and we ended up getting funding stopped to the rebels, and he even talked about getting out of Syria. But John Bolton has said no, and he assured Erdogan, the Turkish president, that we're not in any way leaving Syria. Similarly, we're still in Afghanistan. I wanted to get out of Afghanistan. Trump says, oh, I want to get out of Afghanistan. He copies me every single time we hear him. We're still not out of Afghanistan. We talked about how in the past 15 years, the number of heroin addicts in the United States has increased from 189,000 to 4.5 million. All because we're still in Afghanistan helping the heroin opium producers. And let's not forget the CIA makes $50 billion a year on that. But none of that's been discussed in the mainstream media. We never talk about it. So I'm here to talk about any of those subjects under the sun. I will be everything and the above as soon as I can help everybody. I need 1 second of media time. I haven't had 1 second of mainstream media time. In 11 years, they've systematically censored me and kept me from any of the main venues. I've had interviews, and they were thrown in the garbage. I've had people come to my house and put Beta SP cameras on me, and I talked for 20 minutes at a time. I have over 40 minutes of footage that was thrown in the garbage. So all of that is kind of sad and disappointing to see that the American people are being kept back from a person with great ideas, myself, to help the country. But at least we have a website, and you can go there to America's Third Party and check our platform out. Look at our old site, study it, download our book for 99 cents, Hybrid Capitalism, and you'll see that we have relevant ideas to get this country rolling again. But after a down week in stock market, people are asking, gee, where do I do with my investments? Where do I stick my 401k? Well, I think your 401k is sticking it to you right now. There's a recession upon us, and Trump is denying it. And Trump is starting it with his trade relationship with China, which is deteriorating rapidly, from bad to worse every day. Trump can't seem to get out from under the stupid rhetoric he's pitched against China and against Iran. And now we're kind of stuck in this double down, triple down on his mistake territory. And American soldiers are still dying in Afghanistan. Trump didn't get them out. He said he would because he likes my ideas. He thinks he'll win with my ideas. But he doesn't know how to implement them. He doesn't have the strength to do anything. Trump copied me on my statement that Elizabeth Warren should get a DNA test. And he says, oh, we're going to have Pocahontas get a DNA test. That was my idea. I preceded him 6 months in advance of that idea. She got a DNA test. Turned out she has less than 1% Cherokee Indian in her background, and she hasn't been prosecuted. And I even said, you need to prosecute her for fraud. Well, she's still out there, screaming and in front of everybody.
Yes, he has gone over, and he is not willing to make a commitment that he will not engage in conflicts of interest for the company for which he was a lobbyist. This is outrageous.
Thank you, Ms.
She acts like she's holier than thou art when she took federal money to become a college graduate and go on to become a minority professor at Harvard. Talk about total lies, deceit, fraud, perjury. This woman needs to spend 5 years in jail, not run for president. So Trump didn't have the balls to prosecute her. Trump doesn't have the balls to prosecute Ilhan Omar, who clearly looks like she had married her gay brother in order to make him a U.S. citizen. So Trump is ballless when it comes to all of my ideas. He's willing to use them to get noticed, but as far as implementing them, not going to happen. Okay, so today in the news, we got a couple of bad stories here, mostly related to Trump. 6 polls and more than 6,000 interviews have confirmed that the Trump's approval rating is definitely dropping. And being we're talking about Trump tonight quite a bit, I'll kind of move on to the next story because that's kind of a dead story. Another bizarre painting found in Jeffrey Epstein's New Mexican ranch. Now, here we're talking about paintings, but the biggest joke of all is that Epstein's still alive. That's the biggest joke. He never died. They've got him in play. He's an intelligence officer. According to Acosta, he was in the intelligence community, and that's why he got a light sentence. Thank you, former Labor Secretary Acosta, for testifying. We saw Bill Clinton in drag in a blue dress last week. What do we have here? Got a little girl with her hands in the mouth of a lion. That's weird. His home in Stanley, New Mexico has this weird picture. He didn't limit his tacky art collection to his Upper East Side townhouse. His multi-million-dollar New Mexican ranch was home to a creepy painting depicting a young girl wearing a wedding band getting cozy with a lion. Now, I'm not going to talk about this that long because there's nothing to talk about. The guy is a pervert, and he's still out there molesting children. Our government acts like the case is wrapped up, and somehow we got the guy, he killed himself, and his story. Hardly. His story doesn't pan out. I mean, if you believe somehow, that this guy somehow died from hanging on some bed sheet or something, or toilet paper, and he fell off his and then landed and then somehow broke his neck, which caused his death, you'd have to be a complete and utter fool. No one ever committed suicide in this place that he stayed at the worst metropolitan correctional center, the worst penitentiary out there, deplorable conditions, but nobody's ever died of suicide except for him. And we're supposed to believe that. It doesn't look right. And I've showed you his nose time and time again. I'm not going to keep showing you his nose, but I'll show it to you one more time. The nose of the man that allegedly died doesn't match Epstein. That's right. They've got a picture that doesn't match Epstein. There's no way this is Jeffrey Epstein in state being hauled out in a gurney. We positioned his nose there so you can see it. That's not him. That's not his nose. That being the case, we've been lied to, and this guy has been pulled out of and put into some sort of a secret location where he's probably still molesting children. There is more to the story. Misanthropy has more to the story. New York Post reporter who first broke the news of Epstein's suicide attempt and his successful suicide, the pics of his body flew on the Lolita Express. Oh, this is unbelievable. Look at this. The story gets even weirder. 1997, New York Post reporter Larry Salona is hired by Stanley Kubrick as a consultant on The Eyes Wide Shut and tasked with writing 2 fake articles for the film. One headline, "Lucky to be alive," the other, "A cover-up of the murder of a sex slave," falsely reporting to, he basically went to Orgy Island, the guy that reported the suicide. So this is a tight little complete and controlled story that's been pushed in front of the American people, and we're supposed to buy it. Wow, thank you for that link, Misanthropy. It does. That looks like Jerry Sandusky. You're right. With a bruise mark on his... Now, if he died of a suicide, why does that picture have a bruise mark on it? My information is credible. I've verified and vetted this picture. It really is the picture of the guy they claim died with a lot of screaming and moaning, which very, very strange, died in the cell that Jeffrey Epstein was in. Looks like a bag person they found off the street that had a similar face, but not the same nose. Yeah, and there's a bloody ear there too, which indicates a contusion of some sort. That's not a natural death picture. And any coroner worth their salt would say that's clearly not Jeffrey Epstein. But the coroner that's committing a felony right now by saying that that is Jeffrey Epstein, it's a closed case and he committed suicide, end of story, move on. That person's going to be facing felony charges at a federal level when I instigate a grand jury investigation into this in 2021. We'll be opening up the files on Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Jeffrey Epstein, James Alefantis, John Podesta. The list goes on, and I'm not going to sit back and watch our country being taken over by a bunch of freaks who call themselves intelligence officers using sick pedophile activities against world leaders or government congressmen and manipulating our politics. I'm not going to sit back and watch this happen. So you've got the guy, if you want to vote for me in 2020, I will be the guy to get the accountability that you as the American people truly deserve. I don't have any problems there, but thank you. I don't eat hardly any salt. Thanks for asking. You have to eat about 2,000 milligrams of salt a day. That's a standard most people live by. Okay, so we're done there. We talked about a few things. We could pretty much close the show down now and I can go to bed. Good night. See you later. Okay, I'll stay up for another 4 more hours. Actually, I'll stay up for another 7 or 8 more hours. How's that? I don't consume any salt at all, other than the base minimum. All right, so moving on. I don't want to have this picture on the screen too long. I don't want to talk about the Epstein case that much, but we're supposed to buy this stuff, and if you don't believe this happened, you're a conspiracy theorist and a domestic terrorist threat, according to the government. That's how the government sees anybody who asks questions. Unless, of course, you're Ocasio-Cortez and like to make a fool of yourself in front of the entire world, in which case you get promoted. That's the kind of the people they want in Congress. All right, so I think we've figured out they want us being absolute weirdos, freaks, and they also want us to fight left versus right all night long. That's the entire plan for the American people, as courtesy of the two-party system. There's a fast-moving fire that threatens 1,000 homes in Northern California. Here we go again. It's business as usual. Yeah. I wouldn't doubt these were started with directed energy weapons. There's talk about the Amazon fires, but we did some studying last night. We found out that the Amazon fires are just as bad this year as they were last year. No worse. They're making a big deal about it to take our mind off of the Epstein obvious fakery going on. So don't freak out about the Amazon fires. There's a few people who have fires going on there. It's not the end of the world. And if you're following a BS story about Hillary Clinton being the cause of David Koch, the Koch brother, his death, that's BS too. David Koch was pretty much suffering from prostate cancer for 27 years. It's a miracle he lived that long. He was only given a year to live 27 years ago. So in no way am I implying Hillary had anything to do with that. But there are people that are, on Clinton body count that just, it doesn't add up. It looks very suspicious. Here's the fast-moving fire threatening 1,000 homes in Northern California. There it is. Mountain fire near Redding, California. 1,000 homes are still threatened. So I don't know who's starting these fires and who would set a match to anything in a very hot environment like Redding. Very strange. Yeah, so that's very strange that the New York reporter who first broke the news of Epstein's suicide attempt had flown on the Lolita Express. That's just so weird. Let me give you guys this link over there at the other site. Yeah, some of you haven't seen it yet. Here you go, Max. There, take it. New York Viking is in the show. Hey, New York Viking. Dan Schneider's website contains a link to fake Wikipedia page to cover up what he has done. Scroll down to the bottom and find the Wikipedia link, danschneider.com. Wow. So this is the guy. I thought his name was Larry Salona. Why are we going to Dan Schneider? Explain that to me, please. All right. Donald Trump made a big announcement this week, which shocked the world. Yeah, he decided to declare that he was chosen to do this, that he's the chosen one. And it has backfired. It's going to be a big, huge problem in the future for him, especially with the Christians, Well, they're still voting for him because he's pro-life.
I am the chosen one. I am the chosen one.
But we don't know who chose him. Was it the Illuminati that chose him? Because it does seem like the Russian oligarchs and Zionists got him elected. So that would be the Illuminati. So the Illuminati chose him to be their puppet. Yeah. Well, good for him. You go, girl. The world's getting weirder and weirder. Paul McCartney has announced sickness with constant pain. Do you think that might have something to do with the fact that he lied about being Paul McCartney all these years? Yeah, he's not really Paul McCartney. His name is Bill Campbell. He was chosen to replace Paul McCartney in 1966 when Paul McCartney passed away. Yeah. But we'll never know because this guy refuses to take a DNA test. That's right, William Shears Campbell refuses to take a DNA test. But Beatles icon Paul McCartney has released a new video for PETA on Twitter where he discussed the horrific diseases pigs get when they were prepared for slaughter. That's pretty serious. He showed off his muscles in a shirtless photo he posted yesterday. Let's take a look. He's working out. I'm waiting for the shirtless pose. Oh, really? That's Paul McCartney? I find that hard to believe. Well, when you're in the business of telling everybody you're Paul McCartney when you're really William Shears Campbell, I guess you can lie about everything. He's probably lying about his constant illness, too. Well, I don't feel sorry for anybody who's made $1.2 billion pretending to be somebody they're not and doing such a good job of it. I mean, I totally believed for years that this was Paul McCartney, but when a team of forensic analysts looked at the photograph, they found that Paul McCartney was indeed only a 66% match with the face of Paul McCartney in the early days. Isn't that interesting? I know. I was shocked. And I can line the faces up for you so you can take a look, so make it easy for you, okay? Well, let's be clear. Well, make no mistake about it. Dave's going to help here. We're going to put Paul McCartney up with Fall McCartney, and you can compare their faces. Here we go. Well, I'll throw one of them out there. There's no match here. We'll get to that in just a second. I'll show you the one that they looked at. Now that's still him. That's a match. You call that not a match? Okay. No. Analysis on the face was done and the ear, and they found significant differences between the face of the original Paul McCartney and the face of the current Paul McCartney, including the ears. By the time that Fall McCartney had come into play, they had to buy some time, and they pulled up. William Shears Campbell had won a competition in 1966 to look like Paul McCartney and sound like him. And he won the competition because he was a very successful studio musician. He plays 12 instruments, whereas the original Paul McCartney only played 3. Anyway, the story goes on and on. I'm trying to get the match of the two. There they are. This is the best comparison of the two faces. That's it right there. And that's what the study was started with. 66% match between their faces. It's not the same guy. So William Shears Campbell actually had a band, and he played Billy Peppers and the Maritones. He played songs, cover songs for the Beatles. He's really good, and he got better and better over the years. John said he was incredibly good at what he was doing. George even admitted that his name was Fall. He called him Fall every time he talked about him, George Harrison. But yeah, this is the level of deception that they're willing to go to in order to make their dream of controlling your brain come true. And the Beatles were very, very instrumental in controlling the mindset of the American people throughout the past, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. My God, so many people love the Beatles' music, and there's a reason for that. It's brainwashing material. Yeah. They brainwashed us. You don't have to like the Beatles, but they literally brainwashed us into believing in peace and love. The Beatles carried us into that world, and then gradually turned us into drug addicts. Some of you are drug addicts. You decided to turn to LSD and things because the Beatles did. So this impressionable age was manipulated by the powerful leaders, and they controlled us through this group called the Beatles. Now, somebody pulled up a picture of me. Max got a picture of me. I appear to have been getting younger. This was on the left. It's me in 2008 when I started, and this is me just taken a few days ago. So, I honestly cannot explain why I appear to be getting younger. Hey, you want me to do the Larry Sinclair again? Okay, well, I don't want you to feel disappointed. We'll play you a clip of Larry Sinclair in just a second, okay? Let's talk about Tavistock, yeah. Tavistock was a group that worked out of Frankfurt, Germany. They were a group of Nazi psychologists and sociologists that worked under Adolf Hitler. And they managed to control the entire, mind manipulate the entire world. They get money to this day. Tavistock gets money from MI5 and from our NSA. They get budgeted $7 billion to manipulate the media and literally tell major rock stars what to sing. Thank you. So I'm not sure. Yeah, I haven't changed much at all in 11 years. So The key is to maintain my health for the next 50 to 60 years. So I anticipate I might win the election when I'm 120. No, I was never morphing into a Simpsons character. No, that's just BS. But I hope to win the election in 2088, based on the rate of progression of this information as it's pressing between your lips and telling people about a third party. Some of you in America are having a hard time telling anybody about our show. But people around the world are telling everybody about our show, and it's helping to get the numbers up here. But when you try to get into the show, you can't. Chat has been blocked out by Mark, who gets money to keep people from getting in here. Yeah. And you'll notice that the iBlog chat, this is what's interesting about iBlog, usually doesn't let many guests in. And now they're not letting hardly anybody into the guest room. They keep one person in there to act like it's open. Bernie Sanders is not going away because the Democrats keep thinking they're going to get free money and that Bernie's going to tax the corporate rich when he himself is the corporate rich. Bernie Sanders lies incessantly about all the things he's promising the Democrats. That's why he's still in the race. He's one of those, just like Trump is an incessant liar, Bernie Sanders is an incessant liar too. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Trump? No, I do a lot of impersonations. I can do Ronald Reagan and Richard Nixon and Jimmy Carter. I do Arnold Schwarzenegger, Donald Trump, yeah. Yeah, Ace Spade says he gets into the show every night after being redirected to several different Russian gambling websites. See what I mean? They're the ones paying Mark, by the way, the Russians. He gets a lot of money from Russians. Can I do Rich Little? No. I have a signed copy dedicated to me of Rich Little's lobby card. Yeah, right over here. He signed a copy over to me saying, "Good luck, Dave." I like Rich Little. I thought he was really good. I don't gamble. No, I'm not a gambler. I do play the slots, but that's not gambling. Only if you play with the house money, it's not gambling. If you reach into your pocket and pull $1 out, that's gambling. We have so many casinos in our area that they give you free money to gamble. Can I do Michael Jackson in the pejorative sense, or you mean impersonate him? Yes, this is a beautiful tie. It's from Nordstrom's. It's right off the rack. Literally, right off the rack. So you want me to do vocally? Michael Jackson. Okay, I'll talk like him.
I also can talk really deep.
Do Larry Sinclair? No. Larry Sinclair did Barack Obama. We're going to play this, and he'll tell you all about it right now.
Where Senator Obama exited the limousine with $250, which was provided to him by me. Returned a short while later with an 8-ball of cocaine, which he gave to me. I did ingest a couple of lines of cocaine, and shortly thereafter, Senator Obama produced a glass cylinder pipe and packet of crack cocaine from his pocket. Obama then smoked the crack cocaine. I performed fellatio on Senator Obama in the limousine during the time Senator Obama was smoking crack cocaine, after which I had the driver take me to my hotel, the Comfort Suites, Gurnee, Illinois.
That testimony from Larry Sinclair never got to the mainstream media. All the Democrats were led to believe that Barack Obama was a straight Christian man married to a nice, sweet Christian woman, when in fact Barack Obama is a Muslim, always has been. He never picked up another church after he abdicated his faith with Reverend Wright. Remember that? He never got another church. He's been a Muslim all his life, and he's a homosexual too. He married a transgender. So it didn't shock me to see Larry Sinclair claim he did crack with Barack Obama as he filleted him. And then Barack Obama never, ever prosecuted Larry Sinclair with any type of a charge of a defamation of character even, which further adds to the argument that he was right. When Larry Sinclair took he got a 99% accuracy on a lie detector test. Now, you really want to know if Barack Obama is a homosexual married to a transgender, One has to only look at the earliest photograph we have of Barack Obama and Michelle. Here they were, I believe, at Occidental College in 1978. You'll notice that Michael LaVaughn Robinson happens to look just like Michelle Obama. And Barack Obama, well, he was an openly gay man in Occidental, by the way. Yeah, and then the guy in the middle, I think, was just an average person and having a good time. Wait a second, was that me? I don't remember being there at the time. It looks a lot like me, I gotta tell you. You see the similarity between the faces? Hey, Michael, you want to go play? Let's go to that gay club and take Barack with us. Anyway, I'm adding a little sensationalism to... Anyway, I could have gone to Occidental. I could have known these guys. I had the option. But I didn't go to Occidental. I couldn't afford to go to college at Occidental. I didn't get a college scholarship like Elizabeth Warren for claiming she's a Cherokee Indian. I actually answered honestly on my affirmative action paperwork that I was Caucasian. And boy, I missed out on an education and a possibly working as a minority professor at Harvard and a career as a senator. I mean, think of all the things that I passed up by not lying like Elizabeth Warren did on her affirmative action papers. Well, I believe that Barack Obama did have the potential to grow an afro, but as you know, the hair does not grow. That's right. The hair does not grow on many Negroes at a certain point in their life. It gets kind of it changes texture. I mean, I've studied hair. I got Afro Sheen at one time just to see what it would do. But if Barack Obama were a transgender, that's what he would look like. And there's been a lot of work on that picture, I can tell. But no, seriously, it doesn't grow that much. Your hair doesn't grow. You can't grow an afro. Even I can't grow an afro. You can't. No, I mean, I couldn't even... This is as close to an afro as I can get. I never bought a paper for $25. You know that's a lie. I met a black guy that bought a paper for $25. Now, how did Elizabeth Warren build a $12 million fortune? That's the big question. And how did she do it on the backs of writing affirmative action money and getting a free education? Well, let's find out. Max just sent us a link, and here it is in real time, everybody. The story of how Elizabeth Fraud Warren built a $12 million fortune. Look at this. She identifies as a capitalist, but she has a $12 million fortune in her disposal. She and her husband, Bruce Mann, both longtime law professors, hold much of their wealth in retirement accounts. They own 2 homes, $3 million Victorian one and an $800,000 condo in D.C. Warren, who represents Massachusetts in the Senate, grew up poor in Oklahoma as the youngest of 4. Her father was a maintenance man. Her mother works as a minimum wage employee at Sears. Warren got a debate scholarship to attend George Washington University, but dropped out at 19 to marry her first husband, Jim Warren. And his job at IBM pulled him down to Texas, where she got a degree in speech pathology and audiology from the University of Houston. So she used affirmative action money to get started. It's really sad to see people making their money on federal pension. Look at that. Most of her money is coming from a federal pension and real estate. Wow. She's just profiting all left and right. Trump hasn't even bothered to process her with perjury. Can you believe that? You Trump supporters must be wondering at this point why Trump never prosecuted Obama for lying to us, dropped the birther issue, never prosecuted Elizabeth Warren for lying to us, never prosecuted Ilhan Omar for marrying her homosexual brother and giving him citizenship. So what's Trump really all about? He won't follow up on any of these ideas that I've come up with. He uses them to get noticed, but he doesn't follow up on them because Donald Trump is simply a puppet of the New World Order. He's simply a man who does whatever he's told. That's right. Spank your monkey. The man has become a complete and utter joke. And many people who are still believing him, like this gentleman right here, have the brains of a small mosquito. Really. Anybody who still thinks that he's really helping America after our stock market tanked the past couple of weeks must be kidding themselves. They must be living in a dream world. I mean, how else can you explain this behavior? But Trump's behavior is indicated by his flip-flopping, his incessant flip-flopping. This past week, he talked about how he was going to implement red flag laws that Lindsey Graham is talking about, which require background checks. And then he tells the American people, oh, background checks are off the table. Well, isn't it ironic that I'm the one who's been saying that gun control is off the table? And I've been using those words, and I'm the only person in politics using those words off the table, except for Trump. Now he says background checks are off the table, and he flipped on that too. I said gun control's off the table, period, and he's using that as a way to get noticed. We are seeing this man emulate me, Big Dave. That's right. Yeah, so unfortunately, I'm relying on people like you to help me out, and because you don't make donations, either you're a foreigner and you can't make donations, or you don't realize the importance of telling people about me, but I'm relying on you, the American people, to pitch my story to everybody you know, and it's not working out too well. The Europeans are talking about me, the Asians are talking about me, but we can't get this back in the loop and get people to donate to this effort. It's very hard. Here we have a timeline of some events that have occurred in our country and in China. There's a Cultural Revolution, Communist China in 1966, Cultural Revolution, United States of America, 2017. People being arrested, just like in China. Here. People burning effigies and flags, just like here. So you're saying that we're living in China? Is that what that says? No, we're not living in China. Whatever you're saying is BS. We are living in a country that lies to us and uses surreptitious means to control us. That's true. But beyond that, I mean, we have nothing similar to our life here in America as to China. I have bumper stickers, yeah. I'll get some new ones, yeah. It won't really matter, though. You haven't been to my website to see the ones I have. Seriously. No, Zeno, you never donated anything a few months ago. If any of you have donated any money to our site, we didn't get it. Be sure to email me a copy of your statement, because I never got it. I will prevent social credit like the kind China does, yes. I will do everything I can. The only area where social credit I can see benefiting people is if we eliminate the direct mail industry and open up social credit discounts on food items and gifts, things like that. Hello? Yes, Patrick, go ahead. What can I do for you? Now, in lieu of the simple fact that we have an ongoing problem with people, getting their act together, I see where social credit might actually give people coupons, discounts on things, even in education. If you do well in social ways, maybe you'll get some perks. I can't see saying there's a law against social credit because it is under the purview of the same control that advertising comes under, the First Amendment. So if a network like Facebook wants to offer perks to people that are doing well and getting likes, I don't see a problem with it. Where I see social credit being a problem is how China is employing it or deploying it. And they're actually preventing people from flying out of Beijing if they have bad social credit standings. They're denying people their inalienable rights. And that's where social credit has gone too far. No one should have their inalienable rights of travel and the ability to function and have basic food and clothing and housing based on a social credit score. So that's where I step off then we'll set up laws to prevent anyone denying anyone of their rights based on social credit. We will set a criteria for social credit because I don't think we're going to be able to stop social credit. It's coming. It's already being integrated into our kids' iPhones. We just don't want it to be limiting them in their freedom. Chinese do deserve rights. Yeah. Everybody in the world deserves certain inalienable rights, and I think we should need to keep fighting for that. And Trump kind of lost track of that when he decided he was rich and everyone else is poor. I'm very rich. I don't really care about all that. Anyway, he's really made a buffoon out of himself this week, ranting left and right, making no sense at all. But so have other people. This past week...
Oh, hold on, folks. We've got the presser. We've been waiting.
Ilhan Omar and Tlaib got together and announced they were very upset that they couldn't go to Israel. And they had a press conference, and I featured this past week. It turns out Ilhan Omar is a dunce. She doesn't even know how much money Israel gets. Here she is saying categorically that Israel gets only $3 million a year. She actually says this.
To the conflict. Fortunately, we in the United States have a constructive role to play. We give Israel more than $3 million in aid every year.
She's reading that off a piece of paper. That means that her aides and her interns actually determined that Israel gets $3 million a year, when in fact Israel gets $3.1 billion per year. Let me show you the wiki on this. As far back as 2014, they've been getting $3.1 billion per year. So she says 3 million and the number is $3.1 billion. They also benefit from 8 billion in loan guarantees. And she says it's 3 million. I'm sorry, but this woman is a complete imbecile. And I don't even know why she's in play as a spokesman for Muslims, because she's making Muslims look stupid. Maybe that's something she's after. Maybe that's a common trait. I don't know. I'm not willing to accept the social credit system. It's already being deployed. How do you propose we're going to stop it? I'd like to hear your plan to stop a social credit system. Yeah, Trump and his treasonous gang have not been jailed. No. They won't be. Joe, I'd love to get behind a plan to get accountability from Donald Trump, but the Democrats dropped 5 or 6 felony counts against Trump, refused to prosecute him on impeachment or obstruction. And Donald Trump is overtly obstructing. He told Dan McGahn he couldn't actually testify, even though he already said that Trump was trying to fire Mueller, which is obstruction. So, I mean, everywhere you turn, Trump is obstructing, and William Barr is obstructing too. Now, one of the biggest reveals this week has been William Barr's dad, Donald Barr, had worked at the actual prep school that Jeffrey Epstein was hired at with no degree in mathematics, so he could teach young underage girls math. Donald Barr, the father of William Barr, also wrote a pretty risque book back in 1974 called Space Relations a slightly gothic interplanetary tale where he talked about kids being raped. So Donald Barr, William Barr's father, literally got Jeffrey Epstein started at that school. That's why William Barr needs to recuse himself on the Epstein investigation. Now I'm calling our government, and you can call your senator too, and ask to have a grand jury investigation of the Epstein death. I'm urging people to get more and more information. This is not a closed case. It's clearly obvious that Epstein didn't die based on the fake photo, or the photo that shows a different face than Jeffrey Epstein. So if we don't see a grand jury investigation, we'll never get accountability from these people. William Barr is the wrong person to lead the investigation, and we have that image right here. I will bring that up. Thank you, Max. I'll take on that story in just a few minutes. Sarah's going to come into the show and give me a break. But I will look at that in just a second. Thank you. Okay, Sarah is coming in, and she'll be here to talk to you guys. Thank you very much, Sarah.
All right, thank you. Oh, Paul McCartney's ill with constant pain. Did David tell you all that? Austin. I think Austin is the only city in Texas worth anything. And I have siblings that live in Texas and not in Austin. So I guess that tells you where I'm coming from politically. Hello, Eddie. Glad you're back. Oh, you live in Houston? That's where my siblings live, down in Houston. Yeah, well, I'm sure there's plenty of nice people everywhere in the United States. And I didn't know you were in Houston, so you're probably the nicest person I met from that. Yeah, I was gonna say, Meta Nemesis, you're probably the nicest person I met from that city. Sorry, siblings. But yes, anything to not talk about what David was talking about. You can show me anything. Hello, add the one. Bonsoir, maxed out credit. I love it. The toilets that use worms to compost your poop. They are our future. I love that. Is that, shh, don't tell anyone that you're so nice because you live in Texas, live in Houston? Or is that, I can't tell what that emoji is doing. I can tell there's something under here, but I can't tell if it's like sticking out a tongue, if it's sucking a thumb, or if it's like a quite humming. Oh, it's like, how am I supposed to interpret that, sir? You want me to scroll down to the bottom of this guy's website, click the Wikipedia link, and tell me what you find that's suspicious about the URL. DanSchneider.com. Can I talk through it? Or do you want me to do this off screen? I don't know if I have better things to do. I'm here, so. Screen capture. Okay, and then, okay. So he wants me to scroll down to the bottom of this picture. Oh, and look at the Wikipedia page. This is what you want me to do, right? Dan Schneider is some kind of TV producer, born in 1966. American actor, screenwriter, producer of films and television. He's the president of his own production company called Schneider's Bakery, Inc. Which says, is television production company? Okay. On the internet, his production company often goes by the name of Dan Warp. He acted in several TV shows and films in the 80s and early 90s, the most notable being a 5-year run on the ABC comedy Head of the Class. Then he made the move to writer-producer when he co-created the show All That for Nickelodeon in '94. Known for Game Shakers, Henry Danger, iCarly, Sam and Cat. Is iCarly the one? Oh. Oh, that's what's wrong about this. This says, that's what he's saying. It looks like Wikipedia, but it's n-wiki-org-wiki-dan-schneider-tv-producer.com. Oh, so let's go to Wikipedia. This is n.wikipedia.org/wiki, and we can search him. Dan Schneider, TV producer, American actor, television writer, producer. He devoted himself to behind-the-scenes work in production. Me, What I Like About You, For the WB, All That, The Amanda Show, Drake, Josh, Zoe 101, iCarly, Victorious. And in March 2008, Nickelodeon announced it had parted ways with him. Should I go to exit? An argument over studio space. He had temper problems. And in March 2018, they announced that they would not be extending their production deal with Schneider. The comedy Game Shakers would not be renewed. There are complaints about his alleged behavior, including his alleged well-documented temper issues for years. His tweets showing photos of young actresses' feet. A source close to Schneider strongly denied that Schneider was inappropriate with actresses, but did say that Schneider had temper problems, and also said he could be. An anonymous source claims Schneider was a victim of false online rumors, and his exit from Nickelodeon comes from change of management on Nickelodeon, a disagreement over the end of Game Shakers, and an argument over studio space. I did. So basically, no, it's not. No, here, let me show you the difference. Here is the difference. I'll actually show you what the point that Misanthropy was trying to make. Don't click these links. Just look at them. See how they are not the same at all. But when you go to them at the top, refresh this one. Oh, this one is made to look like Wikipedia, but it's not really Wikipedia. Okay, I can zoom in, that's what I can do. Yes, he put basically a fake Wikipedia link on his actual website. That's what he did. So if I go in here and I'll show you, right? I don't know if this will come in. It always comes in black. Let me remove it. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I think you guys got the point, right? We can move on. Thanks. I totally did not get that. But very good point. Ah. Oh goodness, what is this? Oh, I do not want any of this crap on my screen. Can we please stop talking? I mean, thank you for revealing that, but I just don't want it. I don't want the show to be dedicated to I don't, hey. Thank you, Meta Nemesis. Yes. I don't even want to talk about it. I really don't. All right. I'm willing to look at like Google News or Yahoo. I actually found that I like Yahoo. I don't like the news, but I like Yahoo's layout. But why do they have me in Canada? I think it's because my VPN or something. No, I don't want that. How can I change this? Well, now that you put me in Canada, I don't want it. I just want this one, yahoo.com. Why? I'm not... That disturbs me. Whatever, they're going to show me Canadian news, which is probably nicer than regular news. Liam Hemsworth filed for divorce after seeing those pictures of Miley Cyrus kissing Caitlyn Carter. Yeah, they did revolutionize the web way back when. I remember Yahoo used to have a cool chat room thing. Everything Canadians need to know about Disney. G7 leaders squabble as world economy teeters. Yahoo, Bing, DuckDuckGo are all the same. Yeah, you're right. There is a lot of garbage news on here. Lifestyle, finance. Oil tariff hits just as 6 ships head to China with U.S. crude. Negative interest rates are coming and they're downright terrifying. Really? Okay. Alright, explosives. Wait. What is it? All this lifestyle stuff. I'm not really interested in people's lifestyles. I guess that's my thing. I'm not really that interested. Filling my mind with garbage. Yes. Garbage. Does DuckDuckGo have news? I haven't looked at my local newspaper lately, and I bet it is mostly lifestyle stuff. Is DuckDuckGo owned by Google? Google owns Duck.com, which has been driving rival search engine DuckDuckGo up the wall for over 6 years. I favor each nation having their own say. That's my opinion on Brexit. Yes. Impish. Oh, here we go. See, what the heck is wrong with this? There we go. Former Muskogee Creek Nation principal chief has been indicted on federal bribery charge. It was part of a scheme that included the purchase of land for a tribal casino. I did not search for Creek Nation, though. I just wanted news. Hello. Mad Dog got banned on his birthday. David banned him. I did address your question. I said yes, popularity-wise, roughly, it would be more than 100 to win the U.S. presidency. I think he was drinking and probably did deserve to be banned then. I have heard about the crazy snakeworm invasion, actually. It's pretty crazy. It's in Chicago, Illinois, really. Yes, Cliff to chat, that would be fine with me. I like you just the way you are. Wow, a cocaine stash worth more than $1 million was found in banana boxes at Washington grocery stores. 3 Safeway grocery stores in Washington State. In Bellingham, Washington, just north of me. They found 51 pounds of cocaine while unloading bananas. and in Woodinville. And Federal Way. One truck carrying bananas. That's fine. There are some, as long as you abide by certain dress code rules, Misanthropy. Like no shorts or skirts. When you stand up and put your hands at your side, your shorts and your skirts have to reach your fingertips straight down or longer. And your shirt has to be, if you put your finger like this, it has to be, any strap for tank tops have to be at least this wide, 3 fingers wide. And no hats or, I'm going to say also disturbing headwear in class. Like, if you know, girls come in and wear headbands. But I mean, what's the difference between a girl wearing these headbands with these ears and all this and people wearing hats? I live in a Navy town. We don't do hats inside. I do let them use wool mitten hats. We live in a Navy town. Yes, there's no hats. But I do let them do like wool caps, things that will keep their ears warm. That's it. Or one of those ski bands to keep their ears warm. That's it. Do I wear sweaters with shorts? No. I could though. I love sweaters. You can wear a hat, just not inside. Well, I said, I think I already addressed your issue, Misanthropy. David is serious. How do you suggest he gets more viewers? No, the rules apply to everyone. I do know certain places are getting rid of dress codes. But I think those 3 dress codes are fine. There's no need to call anyone names here. Come on. Please don't call anyone a name. I don't need to discuss that. All right. There's a dress code, Misanthropy. I already told you the dress code. Yeah, I already asked you a question. Yes, I do know about whales. They say killer whales are not really whales because they don't have baleen. They're more like a dolphin. Hello, Victory. They're called orcas, yeah. Yes, we do say the Pledge of Allegiance every day. And what does David say? How so? Explain, misanthropy. Explain. A shirt with sleeves that are 3 finger widths long, shorts that reach the fingertips or longer. Well, Wales, the country, yes. I am supportive. I like people just the way they are, Victory. So I'm fine with however people want to be within the dress code. There's no need to call people names. Really. I know Chicken Time Bags has been missing for a while. I unbanned him because, I was hoping he wasn't banned. I don't think he ever was banned. I just think he did. Either something happened to him or he decided not to come back. You're going to start buying bananas by the box. I'm going to pre-order 1 box of bananas from your store. You got to track that truck. Track that truck. The one with cocaine and the bananas. No, it's not cool because you are... And if you continue, I've been purging you, I will mute you and give you a 10-minute timeout. Because you're devolving your argument into just calling people names. You're not really having a statement. Okay. Okay, good night, maxed out credit. Where did the guest cams go? I think they're still there. I believe that calling people names like idiot does not further any point of debate. That just devolves into it doesn't have a discussion. It's devolving into name calling. You tolerate Howie, but David bans him, therefore you have nobody to talk to. Do you want me to unban Howie did it? The word idiot was a medical term for a time. Let's look it up. Let's see what Wikipedia has to say. But that's my understanding. My understanding of the word idiot. You like this hairstyle? I feel like I need to dye my hair, but okay. Actually, instead of Wikipedia, I want to go to Entom Online, and we can look at the history of the word idiot. Entom Online is an online etymology, sorry, I didn't mean to say entom. Etymology dictionary. Oh, that's pretty interesting, Cliff. All right, early 14th century, a person so mentally deficient as to be incapable of ordinary reasoning. Also in Middle English, simple man, uneducated layman. From the Old French, idiote, uneducated or ignorant person. From Latin, idiota, ordinary person, layman, outsider. Simple man, uneducated layman. In late Latin, uneducated or ignorant person. From Greek, idiots, layman, person lacking professional skill, opposed to writer, soldier, skilled workman, literally private person, as opposed to one taking in public affairs. Used patronizingly for ignorant person, from idios, one's own, see idiom. In plural, the Greek word could mean one's own countryman. In the Old English law, one who has been without reasoning or understanding from birth, as distinguished from lunatic who became that way. Idiot box television set is from 1959. Idiot light dashboard warning signal is attested from 1961. Idiot savant attested by 1870. An idiom is a form of speech peculiar to a people or place. Yes, and I would claim that the contextual use that you're using is inappropriate. – 95% of the population. Ignorance. I don't mind the word ignorance, because to me, ignorant means that people can learn. Hello, Big Outlaw. Yeah, it's very nice and cool where I am at. Hello, KY. Yes. Ignorant is not knowing, and then you can have ignorance and you can build on ignorance. Whereas idiocy, it just devolves into calling someone a name, and it's like a way to end an argument, and it doesn't open up possibilities for describing why you disagree with a perspective. I don't know, Victory for Cake. You're probably right, Misanthropy. That's how you could describe 95% of the population. Really, Big Outlaw, I'm having a conversation with someone else in another room about this. There's no need to devolve to name calling and call people idiots. You can call them ignorant. You can call them, but really, I mean, people you don't understand. people you disagree with, but calling someone an idiot is a way to end an argument, and it just doesn't open the pathway toward empathy. It's like shutting down conversation. Well, I think you need to have some empathy for the people you work with. I think you need to start building relationships. What is the type of person that agrees with you? Right. I agree with you, Impish, about this point that you say ignorance is a condition of not knowing about things. Stupid is not having the ability to learn. But I believe that a lot of people, yeah, and I get you that I think that a lot of people do have the ability to learn. And when you're in an argument with someone and you're calling them stupid or an idiot, then you're shutting down their conversation because you're saying, I don't have the ability to, I might as well not talk to you. And what you have to say is of no value to me. I think you should keep an open mind when talking to people, like I'm keeping an open mind with you. Antifa does what a lot? Antifa, Antifa, as my dad pronounces it, means anti-fascist. I personally think fascism is a bad thing. I would say the planet is over 6,000 years old. Thank you, Big Outlaw. Oh, Antifa shouts at people and tells them they're idiots and racists. And it's a way to shut down the conversation and not build on common understanding. It's a complete way to shut down the conversation. Well, David and I are different people, David Miliband. David sometimes calls people names too, and I don't appreciate it. You think fascism is what Antifa is doing? And this country is now full of hypocrisy. People eat more, some people eat food that causes them to have gas in their system more than others, and that's why they have to release the gas more than others do. Isle of Fries. Or their system doesn't agree. Even if two people ate the same food, one body might not process the food in the same way. Yes. True, KY. Okay, you gave David a meme earlier. I'll see if I can understand the point. I'll show everybody else, see if they can understand the point. Okay, Cultural Revolution, Communist China, 1966. Taking down a statue, Cultural Revolution, United States of America, 2017. Taking down a statue. Some kind of prayer, maybe. Some kind of prayer or apology, I don't know. Was this burning something? Burning the old gods, I think. Holding up pictures. of their leader, holding up pictures of their leader. So your point is that the Cultural Revolution in Communist China 1966 is similar to the Cultural Revolution in the United States in 2017. I think the United States has changed a lot in the last 2 years. What do you think, Impish? What's your take? If you saw David's show, what do you think? Do you think it's a shtick? Or do you think something different? What's your take on it? You are against them banning women from going to university, or are you in favor of women going to the university? I am. Okay, so then just enjoy the show with your perspective in mind. What would serious look like to you? What is a shtick? A shtick is a comedy routine. That's fine. And you can play your part in the satire. I think it's just, you know, that's the thing. David does a show every night, and you can, for your enjoyment. I'm not mad at you. I'm really not. I was mad at... He's not yelling. My dad's just hard of hearing, and my dad's visiting. So he's having a normal conversation with my dad. Because otherwise my dad says, huh? What? I love my dad, but he does say that. Okay. Thank you, Add the One. No, he's kind of a private person. Or maybe he just doesn't always align with David, at least politically. Well, I've agreed to give David breaks during his show so he can eat and get a little break. That's part of my shtick. And so I've agreed to give David 1 or 2 breaks every evening. My dad is 66. I haven't been watching Netflix lately, but I might want to watch something on Netflix tonight. Thanks so much. I appreciate you, Add the One. Right? Yeah, you're probably right. Thanks for reminding me, Cliff. Well, actually, the thing is, Impish, I spent all day with my dad. We went on a really lovely ferry cruise. I call it a ferry cruise. We just, we took a ferry, a local ferry goes out of Anacortes, Washington, up to the San Juan Islands, and we just got on the ferry and we drove over there, and then we got back on the ferry and came back and just spent the time like looking out at the water, Ferry. And then when we came back, I cooked something for him for dinner. Well, we did some grocery shopping, and I misanthropy. We had dinner together, and then I was like, well, David probably hasn't eaten dinner yet, so, or, you know, David likes my dad too. He likes talking to him sometimes. So anyway, and that's why I'm on the show, and I'll spend more time with my dad off the show. You're making burritos. Do me, my dad, and David get along? Yeah, for the most part. I mean, David is David. You've all met David, and pretty much what you see online is what he talks about offline. What he talks about online is what he talks about offline, and that can be a bit much for anyone. So, but, yeah, for the most part, we all get along. If I did a henna tattoo that disappears, it would disappear. David would not like it. David would be like, what are you doing to your body? You know, that soaks into your skin. Anyway. Yeah, some things in common. I mean, David's a kind-hearted person. We all love it here. That's something else we have in common. Anyway. Yeah. Well, I loved David's father. Loved him. I did. I loved him like a kindred spirit. So as far as in-laws not getting along, as far as David's mom, I knew her for 1 year and 8 months before she passed away, but she still plays a pivotal role and influence. As far as no, Impish, I really don't. I am very cordial since David's family died, I'm very cordial with David's family. As I would say, David is cordial with my siblings as far as liking each other's siblings. I think, well, I have a huge family, so with my family is so big that oftentimes, even if you did not like, you could find maybe one or two siblings to like in my family. Oh God, no, misanthropy. There's only one person that dislikes David's brother more than me. Do I relate to the saying family first? Well, David has become like my family. So yes, if you include that in there. Yeah, I do not get along with that person at all, tiddly-dee. Am I being overly dramatic? I'm trying to be real. I do have, I have two nieces. One of those nieces had 2 children, so I have a great niece and great nephew.
Oh yeah.
I have 2 other nephews by 2 other siblings, and I do not plan on having children myself.
She doesn't want kids, and I don't blame her. I don't want kids either. I don't want the responsibility. You know, we're focused on what we're doing here, and I really feel that children would be a terrible diversion, and it would put them at risk too.
I would
and they
say
cost too much. Yeah.
Thank you, Zellfire. I do say good relationships do take some work.
That person Denny is impersonating somebody. I have no.
Just purge him, yeah.
Yeah.
And then no, I don't plan. See, the thing is, I really enjoy being a teacher, and that is how I contribute to the next generation. That's what I say.
That's really good.
I have, if I just have one child and spent all that time with one child, I would only be influencing that one child. But in my profession, I'm able to have a positive impact on many children. Maybe not as many as Mr. Rogers, but
yeah.
I mean, I know David's always said, you should do a video show. But then, you know, the writing and the producing that he did is just pretty phenomenal. But yeah, that's how I'm impacting the next generation. And here's the thing, I have 500 kids.
Yeah, you do.
Because I don't just count my class, I count all the kids at the school as my students.
And you really would be, it would be difficult to raise a child and do your job. It's so hands-on.
Yeah, I mean, I would
really
feel like I wasn't giving my child, you know, enough or something, or not. You know, I'd have to choose between giving my child the attention they need and giving my students the attention they need. And I really appreciate you not wanting kids like me or giving me that, you know, agreeing with me so that I can do what I do.
Yeah, I want you to fulfill your goals in life, and my goal was never to have a child, unless of course it's genetically, you know, a spliced clone or something. Because I was a great kid. I don't know if I would have great kids. That's my concern. Yeah, I saw the worst case scenarios in my life of kids that weren't great and how tough they were on parents. And I've seen the downside of having children from just watching my family. I was the youngest child, so I saw what my parents were going through with other family members who I don't even talk to. I'm incredibly glib, yeah. I'm also impromptu and can speak freely, extemporaneously, with no problems whatsoever. And what makes me a threat to the status quo is that I have it all. I've got the full package, and they know it. I can deliver, and our country needs a guy like me right now, delivering answers to the problems we're facing. I'm ready for it. But I can tell you this country has got a buffoon as a president who's ruining relations with our country's, with the world's leaders, and at the same time not even addressing a New World Order problem that's evolving. Donald Trump has never even mentioned the New World Order, let alone the threat we have from the Zionists like himself, who are simply siding with Israel on every single note without even questioning Israel ever, and then at the same time doing the powers bidding. The people that fund this have one goal, and that is to take over the world. I mean, we're being played. Our country is being duped, and these Zionists like Biden and Trump are their dupes, are their shills. You know, I'm planning on having clones, so don't worry. Yeah, you know, I've got relationships off and on with siblings that, you know, it's difficult. You have to never let get too close when things have already happened. There are boundaries you have to create with your siblings. I don't know. Trump has balls. He doesn't even have balls to prosecute Hillary Clinton, Elizabeth Warren, Ilhan Omar. He completely gave up on the Barack Obama birther issue. It's like he turned his back on 38% of the country that still believe that Barack Obama lied about his birth certificate and is probably lying about a lot of things. He never pursued anything. Not even Eric Holder's case of Fast and Furious. He just stepped into the shoes of Obama and acted like Obama. Divisive, but from the other political perspective, the Republicans versus the Democrats. So he hasn't done anything. And this divisiveness is what's causing our problems in the country and getting nowhere. We're getting nowhere. We're not even acknowledging the left and the right or the center. We're breeding contempt between all parties, and that's what Donald does. That's what Barack Obama did. Barack Obama wouldn't even answer to the powers that be. He said, he told world leaders that, you know, it was his way or the highway, just like Trump did. It's the same thing. And he hasn't really worked out a plan for world peace. And the problem with these Zionists like Barack Obama and Biden and Trump is they think they're the chosen one, and what they're chosen to do essentially is implement the New World Order.
Chosen one. I am the chosen one. I am the chosen one.
You know, I don't think a dress code, other than the standard dress code of pants and a shirt, or a skirt if you're a girl or a boy, should be, I don't think beyond that, I don't think you should really allow costumes. We have Halloween to dress up as a cat, but I don't think we need to allow costumes as your clothing source. And every principal can decide that. No, we won't need to invade Greenland. We'll own it. We'll own it outright because Donald wants to buy Greenland. And he wants to change all the flags and make it a state or a territory. Well, we are great people, and we would make great kids, but we're not going to have children. And I would be doing a disservice to children, a child, if I were in here doing this show every night and the kid was in the other room playing games. I'd rather be playing Grand Theft whatever with a kid, 9 years old, if I had a son. Or how old do you have to be to play Grand Theft Auto? Does anybody know? Is it like 16 or 13? See, I don't even know how many, are there restrictions? Yeah, 17. Okay, with my son, or if the kid was young, I'd rather teach him how to read, or But to be in here every day would be a disaster. And you know full well that they would have taken a kid of mine during that swatting attack. Can you imagine how traumatic that would have been to a child? Imagine how much crap the next Democratic president will be able to push through and the people will blindly allow after having to deal with Trump. Yeah, you're right. The divisiveness kind of pushes everybody to the Democrats, but the Democrats don't have it anymore. They don't even have the ability to prosecute Donald Trump. They've got the votes, except many people are drifting into the independent realm. They don't know where to vote. They may even vote for Trump if the economy's going well. I know a lot of people in like places like Virginia, New York, swing states, that will still vote for Trump and still like Trump despite everything he's done or not done. I know people that they're not stupid, they're college graduates, they'll still vote for Trump. It's crazy. It's like the lesser of the two evil thing is still working. That's actually one of his good things that he's got going, is he thinks he's good. He thinks he's not. But in reality, he's been lying through his teeth and taking money from Russia. Donald Trump essentially sells himself very well. That's the problem. He continues to say he doesn't lie and it's all a Russian hoax, and he denies everything. He just fogs everybody with the same things over and over again. And some people believe that crap. Right, I wouldn't want a child in the White House and neglect a child while I'm working. No, presidents don't get 2 terms. And in the case of Bill Clinton, he got 2 terms. George W. got 2 terms because the economy was okay during those time periods. But George H.W. were in a recession. He didn't get 2 terms. He only got 1. Jimmy Carter, we were in a recession. He only got 1 term. Donald Trump, we're in a recession. He's slated to get only 1 term. People are going to blame Trump for the economy. It's bound to happen. We've been riding on the Trump branding for so long, it's not going to make any difference unless the economy tanks. If the economy tanks and the stock market drops a couple thousand points as we approach the 2020 election, Trump will definitely lose to a Democrat, but I doubt it will be butt gig. Pete Buttigieg, I don't think has a chance. I think Kamala Harris could very well, make it to the final run if she could just deal with her parents and how they treat her. People don't understand why Kamala Harris is getting treated really bad by her parents, who call her a joke. So this is the week when Kamala Harris stopped being a serious contender for president. Let's listen in, see what happened. Elizabeth Warren needs to retire or face perjury charges for lying about her Cherokee ancestry.
Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way. When you are in a position to make a difference and an impact in these people's lives, you did not. And worse yet, in the case of those who were on death row, innocent people, you actually blocked evidence from being revealed that would have freed them until you were forced to do so. There is no excuse for that. And the people who suffered under your reign as prosecutor, you owe them an apology.
Wow. Kamala just got battered. Yeah. Reports of Harris's rebuke of the Sanders healthcare plan soon spread online. I don't support Medicare for all. I think it's a big mistake. I support a public option at $60 a month for average people, individuals. So even Obama said that wasn't Epstein in that prison suicide photo? Well, we'll make no mistake about it. Barack Obama, if you're listening, we need to get the truth about Jeffrey Epstein to the American people. And also tell people that you're a homosexual married to a transgender. No. If that's the best the Democrats can come up with, I don't know what's wrong with your brain. Many of you are not germinating a third party in your mind. Look at Misanthropy says, I'm pretty sure Trump is getting a second term if this is the best the Democrats can come up with. I really don't want to hear about him anymore, though. It's as if we can't get the seed of a third party to germinate in your brain matter. It just won't click. It's like he doesn't want to include it. Yet he comes to our show every night, hangs out. He did stay away for a while because I made a few statements. But thanks for your viewership. But you don't understand. That's why I'm here. I'm not here to make money. I'm not here to pad my pocket. I made nothing since I started this. And people are getting paid to stop me, whether you believe it or not. I'm here to build this third party, and you're wasting an opportunity. And the way your mind is thinking, two-party, it's as if you're not even hearing our show. It's weird. So I guess we have a little bit of a disconnect here, and I don't understand where it starts and where it stops, but I think it's partly due to the fact that we've been brainwashed to think that we only have two parties. There's no way a third party will ever succeed. The only answer out of this is a centrist third party. We're never going to find a united America anywhere in the Democratic Party or in the Republican Party. Clearly, the way out of this is right through the center. So let's do it. Here we go again.
Here we go again. Here we go again.
Been there, done that. There's nothing new to it. I felt this rush before. And as we have reached it, the peak of everything will fall in like rocks when you decided to. Been there, done that. There's nothing new to it. I felt this rush before. And as we have reached it, the peak of everything will fall in like rocks when you decided to. Been there, done that. There's nothing new to it. I felt this rush before. Woo, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So clearly we have to emerge from this place that we're in where we've been brainwashed, and many of us are wondering why. And I'm preaching awareness. And I'm telling everybody, we've got to make more and more people aware of the two-party system and how it's dividing the country. That helps right there. And then there's this kind of a sense of relief to know that we'll have a party, that the people will be able to protect their gun rights. I said gun control is off the table with me. And people will be able to build from there a new environment, improved environment, which the Democrats are woefully neglectful with. Dealing with a homeless problem instead of ignoring it like Trump's been doing. Dealing with a heroin problem, I told you now, in 15 years, heroin addiction has gone from 189,000 in the U.S. to 4.5 million. Trump is talking about the opioid crisis. What about legalization of marijuana? Trump won't even talk about it. You see, the Republicans are becoming useless when most of the American people are heading toward legalization. So we have a couple of ideas, all of which, are represented here, except for legalization in hybrid capitalism. We didn't add that to the book because we didn't think that it was relevant to the economy at the time. But now I'm realizing legalization is a brilliant way to start new profit centers in America, consolidate gang territories among cities where, like Chicago. Hopefully, Illinois' new legalization will lead to consolidation of territories because people are killing each other in Chicago over where they can sell their crack. Legalization of marijuana gives a legitimacy to the marijuana industry and keeps crack out of those shops. I just hope Illinois employs a video surveillance system at the state level so that they can monitor shops. I don't have anything against the word idiot. Sarah can say it's a bad word. Yeah, she's very politically correct. She's never said the word idiot that I know of. I'm very, very politically direct, so she's different than me that way. Yeah, it should be a good election for me, but the fact is I'm being censored. So there's a huge divide between where we're at right now and where we need to be to even get noticed, to get free press. And that divide's been there for every election since we started. It doesn't change. We're still censored in the mainstream media here. Yeah, I use the word quite often because I believe that it applies a person with an IQ below 35, I believe, is technically an idiot. It is legal for states to legalize marijuana because it is a medicinal plant and there's no reason why it should be on the list of controlled substances. So I'm urging Congress to pull it off the list of controlled substances immediately. And that'll be issued in my executive order. The first executive order I'll have will be to pull marijuana off the list of controlled substances. Anything less than that would be a ridiculous waste of our time. It is medicinal. It's been proven to be medicinal. It actually shrinks tumor cells in brains. I mean, that's been a demonstrated proof that CBD and THC have effects in that department. Yeah, so if you're suffering from brain cancer, it certainly wouldn't hurt you to have CBD oil. And taking a few drops of concentrated CBD oil can't hurt you. And it's not physically addictive, so legalization is perhaps a no-brainer. You'd have to be an idiot not to legalize, and that's where Jeff Sessions was, and that's where our current Secretary of State is. And the Attorney General, the Attorney General is, and the Attorney General right now is William Barr, and he's so deep state it's ridiculous. Biden, find a girl that looks at you and the way Joe Biden's granddaughter looks at him and kiss her. I did not see that. Look at that. So Biden kissed his granddaughter on the lips. Interesting. We have a photo of that. He does like young girls, and we did show you some of the pictures of Biden touching young girls. And inappropriately touching women too. So we know that's in the mix. Biden is getting away with that. So Jeffrey Epstein's talent agent pal was spotted scouting fresh flesh in Brazil right before the arrest of Jeffrey Epstein. Because Jeffrey Epstein's been so high profile, the elites can't bury the story. And it does look like there's more and more evidence that this guy was working on a plan to get out of prison and start working again as a top-level intelligence officer, which according to Labor Secretary Acosta, he was an intelligence officer. That's why he gave him a light sentence. But our government's not pursuing this as a crime, which is very strange, giving him cover. It looks more and more like Trump he's getting deep cover from somebody. Yeah. Trump's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein is known as well. And that's another reason why they probably needed to get Jeffrey Epstein dead in the eyes of the American people as fast as possible. So these cover-ups have been going on over and over again to keep the American people from finding out about their intelligence gathering methods, which involves soliciting people on the streets who are innocent, wayward girls, like in Brazil. Look at this. It must be ripe with kids that are just like fresh out of their personal life. And okay, here he is. Jean-Luc Brunel, right, was spotted scouting for models in Brazil right before Epstein's arrest. So we know this guy has been a solicitor, a wrangler for the girls, the young girls that Epstein brings in. Brunel, 72, is an agent who in the 1980s discovered some of the biggest names in modeling. He was on a month-long scouting jaunt, South America, through big cities. So 3 months before FBI agents arrested Epstein at a private New Jersey airport for his alleged role in a global child trafficking ring, his old pal and business partner, Jean-Luc Brunel, was busy scouring Brazil for girls who could make him even richer. One agent said he spent more than 2 hours with us, who owns a talent firm. I brought my wife and 7-year-old daughter to the meeting. I knew nothing about what he had been accused of doing. I still don't quite believe it. Wow, Brunel's been implicated in court filings for procuring girls for his old American chum, Epstein, who was indicted on charges of sexually abusing dozens of girls. Well, his suicide. Epstein didn't kill himself, people. He's still out there. Oh, yeah. As president, I will put a full manhunt for Epstein, and we will bring him in. And this time it won't be get out of jail free with a fake body and the full cover by the U.S. media. I am shocked this has been happening. And you heard Virginia Roberts Giuffre's case may be dropped completely. They're getting ready to drop it. William Barr acts like he's really going to do something, but he's actually complicit in dropping the case right now. And nobody has processed any type of a investigation, impeachment process, an investigation into Epstein. No one's processed this. A grand jury investigation is needed right now. You left your wallet in El Segundo? Bummer, man. That happened to me in Malibu. KY Poopy left his wallet in El Segundo. Bummer. Did you lose a lot of money? Yeah, when I was 18, I remember leaving my wallet in Malibu. And I left it at a McDonald's. I was in a hurry. I set it on a chair, and I was with this horrible woman. And we took off. It like bolted out of there. I think we were having an argument. And I went back 5 minutes later, and the wallet was gone. And I looked at the staff, and they all looked guilty as hell, like they grabbed it. I had like $80 in there. The staff looked guilty as hell. Yeah, they grabbed it, and they just didn't want to tell me. Yeah, so what about we talked about his wrangler, Jean-Luc. What about Naomi Campbell? She actually went out and talked to all these famous people. And she brings in the celebrities. You see how this works? One guy, one talent scout, brings in the little girls, and Naomi Campbell was good friends of Jeffrey Epstein, and there she is, Ghislaine Maxwell, who has been not seen for some time, and a fake photo was posted by her firm, claiming she was at an In-N-Out Burger, which turned out to be fake. But look at all these people that she hangs out with. British royalty, Obama, Katy Perry, Bradley Cooper, Harvey Weinstein, Heidi Klum. Look at these people. So bringing all these people into this fold is how Epstein succeeds at getting them to do compromising things. And then they got videotape proof that they had sex with a minor. Case closed. They got their proof. They've got everything they need. They can close in and charge any one of these people with a crime. Meaning our congressman and everyone who's potentially making decisions could very well be dupes of Jeffrey Epstein. Anybody could be talking to an 18-year-old at a party and go, oh yeah, sure, let's party. And then pretty soon it's intimate. Well, it turns out she's 16, dude, and you just got charged with statutory rape of a minor. But you have to do what we tell you to do, or your career will completely go up in smoke, and you'll be spending jail time. That's the kind of control they have over congressmen. That's why Jeffrey Epstein's still in play right now. You once left your wallet at a strip club in New Jersey? Was it by any chance Bada Bing? There was a card that had your cell phone number. The next morning you got a call that I left your wallet there, and some fat Italian guy looked like he was a mafia gave me back the wallet. And you had your military reserve ID? Yeah. See, there you go. A guy, Italian guy, a good guy, one of the good fellas helped you out. See what I'm talking about? Yeah. David, when you pass, doesn't your money belong to Sarah? Yes, completely. I've made her my sole beneficiary. But I'm not passing anywhere. I didn't get beat up, Xenu. I was hit many times, but nobody's ever beat me up. If you can't take a punch, there's something wrong with you. Yeah, I've never been beaten up. I've been punched a few times. One guy sucker punched me right out in front of Kirchhoff Hall coffee shop. We have arranged meetings with. We have made arrangements for each other. Sarah and I have. Well, I was standing next to a guy at Kirchhoff Coffee House at UCLA, and being I'm tall and obviously a person that somebody is jealous of. A lot of people who look like crap, look worse than crap, often look at a guy like me and want to see if they can get an upper edge. And one of the best ways to get an edge on somebody is just hit them in the stomach really hard. Well, that happened to me. And at the time, I didn't even know the guy's name. He just split. Well, when you sucker punch, you lose all your air. Your air deflates out of your body. You could collapse a lung when you're sucker punched. It happened to Houdini. He sucker punched. Somebody sucker punched him right in the appendix, right, and he was having an appendicitis. His burst, and he got sepsis, and he died. Houdini was one of the strongest men in the world. He had almost superhuman strength, and somebody got him when he had an appendix flare-up, and they hit him there. Yeah, I don't believe in the inheritance tax. I don't support it, and I want to stay with the current capital gains tax deduction of $250,000. I think it works for most people. But many people who want to cash in and make investments and profit all the time are definitely benefit from the inheritance tax not being too high, or flipping houses doesn't cost them too much capital gains. But I think the capital gains laws are in place right now to keep that from happening. Donald Trump recently said he was going to drop the payroll tax, and I'd have to say he's an absolute moron, because that's one area we can raise without even impacting our economy. More and more people who have lots and lots of money are getting away with a payroll tax deduction of $130,000. That's all they pay on is $130,000. So everything above $130,000 they don't pay a payroll tax on. And a lot of people make a lot more than $130,000 now. You and I don't, but they do. And those are the people we need to hit hard. So I say a no-limit payroll tax is in order for 2021, and it should restore the funds necessary to keep our Social Security Trust Fund rolling. This is an idea I proposed in Hybrid Capitalism. not cutting the payroll tax. Yeah, your friend got $100,000 in inheritance and he had to pay 30% to the government. Yeah, there you go. There's an inheritance tax. Oh, I've never been beat up. No, I've made a commitment to not engage in violence. My father took me aside when I was 7 years old, and when your dad's a war hero who's killed over 100 men, he talks to you about nonviolence, you listen. I hit my cousin. It was like it came out of nowhere. I almost felt like there was this super strength in me, and I heard my cousin say something that I didn't agree with, and I didn't like, and I just bashed him in the face. And I didn't know where that punch came from. And then my father took me aside and told me that it takes a greater man not to fight back. And that was a real tough one to swallow. But I wanted to show my father, that I was a greater man. And believe it or not, it takes a greater man to not fight back. It's easy to fight back. It's easy to hurt people if you're really strong like I am. I would never hurt people. I've dedicated to nonviolence. I've worked on my impulse control ever since I was 7 years old. You, however, have not. Yeah, what you just said there is indicative of a person who doesn't have any impulse control. And I think, Zena, you're going to get your ass kicked really bad someday. You may not even make it with that attitude. I have averted a number of incidences that would have turned really bad, for either party. I would have been in prison, serving double nickels at Chino. Like a lot of people who engage in physical violence, like Zena's talking about, you're going to go to jail or worse. No, you're just full of crap. And we don't allow that here. Your destiny is not good. In martial arts, you're trained not to go after the head. But I witnessed a kid hitting another kid and grabbing their head this summer and shaking their head all around. It could have broken their neck. So I had to step in and say, "Hey, stop that!" And I explained to the mother that if she said that her son was studying jiu-jitsu, I said, well, even in jiu-jitsu, they train people not to use head attacks. Okay, well, that's good. Stand your ground. Right, it's best to avoid a street fight because you have no idea if the other person has a knife or whatever. Right. A lot of people think they can just go after people in physical violence and expect minor hits. There are people that'll pull a gun on you or worse. At close range, they might even pull a knife and slash your throat. It's not that hard to conceal a knife at close range that a person wouldn't even know is coming, and just zip, 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 and the guy's bleeding out. Yeah, and you're charged with manslaughter or worse. David, you know that feeling when one of your tweets gets retweeted? I don't know. I never get my tweets retweeted usually. We're completely shadow banned and censored on YouTube and on Twitter. Twitter has completely shut us down. The only thing I can do is get a few people on Periscope to see our show. We don't get promotion whatsoever. Okay, the North Korean uranium plant still leaking radioactive waste into a nearby river and putting hundreds of thousands of people at risk. I noticed that Donald Trump doesn't care about those people because he hasn't said anything. He hasn't contacted Kim Jong-un about this. He hasn't made a phone call. Oh, Kim, how are you? I'm worried about the radiation. I didn't want to do that big word thing, denuclear. He can't pronounce denuclearization. So he's now ignoring the uranium plant thing because it comes down to talking to Kim Jong-un about getting rid of nuclear weapons. So he won't do that because he can't pronounce the word. We're going to do the big word thing sometime in the future. Mike Pompeo is going to meet me at Bada Bing and we're going to work this out. was a guy in Florida 3 years ago that was trying to use the stand your ground defense against an assailant. What happened was, this is how it happened. A father of 2 girls, decides to go on a date with his wife, take her out to dinner, or to a movie, and they're in the movie theater, and he gets a text message from the babysitter, and he click, he opens it up. The text message is sitting there. He's hitting the text message, and the guy behind him says, "Hey, buddy, you're not allowed to text in here." And the father says, "Screw you, buddy. I'll do whatever the hell I want," and continues to text his daughter. No problem, right? Well, that father of 2 girls, decides to go to the snack bar and get some popcorn. He encounters the same guy who's sitting behind him saying, "I'm reporting you to the manager." So the guy with the popcorn is standing there saying, "Screw you, again, I can text anytime I want. Go ahead and report me." And the guy says, "Yeah, I'm going to report you, man." And then so the father of 2 throws the popcorn at the guy. The nutcase grabs his revolver, which he had on his person, and he had a license to carry that revolver as a concealed weapon, pulls the revolver out and shoots the father point blank range, kills him right there in front of the snack bar. Because the father threw popcorn at him. The whole thing went to court. The guy who killed the father claimed he was standing his ground. Yeah. And the judge said, "No, stand your ground only applies to when a weapon is pulled on you. Popcorn is not a weapon." So he's serving multiple years in jail for doing that, killing that poor father and the 2 girls who lost their dad over a text message in a theater. Can you imagine? Should we put laws out saying you're not allowed to fire people who have popcorn and throwing at you? I don't know. It's hard to say what to do with that, you know. Just don't do it. Don't react to people in public. Don't flip people off. It's your best bet. If you want to live a long life, pursue nonviolence and don't react to people in public who are aggressive toward you. The fight or flight response is usually your initial response. You can also freeze and do nothing. Flight, freeze, or fight. Your choice. You learn to avoid road ragers. Good. Yeah, I knew a guy who followed a guy all the way home, an hour and a half out of his way. While he was following the guy, he was fully aware that he was armed and he had a gun on board. He never did anything, but I told him, I said, "You really, really pushed the limit there. You're like following a person all the way home with a gun on board. I mean, what was your plan? I mean, how could your road rage be that bad that you'd follow somebody all the way to their house?" And he contemplated using it. He didn't, though, and he never threatened to do it. So there's technically nothing wrong with following a person legally on the street, as long as you don't hurt them. But that's crossing the line, if you ask me. "Oh, I'm not the impression? No, I haven't worked on the Trump impression at all. I'm not the chosen one." Yeah. Apparently Donald is the chosen one. He said so. And he was chosen by the Illuminati to be the puppet president that he is, supporting the Zionist initiative to create more wars, obviously looking to fund and fuel a new world order. Donald really sees himself as the chosen one.
I am the chosen one. I am the chosen one.
Yeah. Hey, news on Juicy Smollett. That's right. There's some good news about Juicy. Yeah. Well, Reverend Sharpton hasn't piped in on this yet. Nobody else has. special prosecutor has been appointed to investigate why Smollett's felony charges were mysteriously dropped. I'd like to know too. I'd like to know how he got Fox, the prosecuting attorney who had recused herself in the case, to somehow decide that she wasn't in any way going to allow this case to go forward. I just don't know how Kim Fox can recuse herself on this case as a Chicago prosecutor and somehow dictate to the prosecutor whether they should pursue a case against him. So prosecutorial neglect would be the first order of business. You're not eating? Or why don't you just get some comfort food and pound that in your pie hole? Get a loaf of bread and some peanut butter or something, man. Yeah, you shouldn't go hungry. Al Sharpton is outraged. 14 felonies all dropped and $0 in fines. I know. And Al Sharpton was one of the people that were upset that Jussie was totally abused by white men flashing bleach in his face. Turns out Jussie Smollett gave those white men $3,500. Yeah. And then when asked what you gave those men $3,500 for, wasn't to throw bleach in your face to get a media, clip on that? No, it was for exercise equipment. So if a special prosecutor is going to look into this, you'd want to see the receipts on those exercise equipment he got. Yeah. And without receipts, Jussie is going to be very, very guilty. Bernie Sanders chides the audience for applauding the death of David Koch. Yes. Well, I would hope that he would chide the audience for doing that, because it is completely inappropriate to laugh or congratulate the death of somebody. This shows you the mindset of a lot of Democrats, though. They hate Republicans so much that they actually applaud the death of somebody. This is a group of people that won't prosecute Elizabeth Warren for lying about being a Cherokee Indian, right? That are okay with Beto O'Rourke writing that he wants to murder children, and they still like him. Okay with Ocasio-Cortez lying about her past and her degree in economics at Boston University. The Democrats just want to chide men who've made $47 billion in the oil industry that they themselves use every day when they drive their car. The Democrats want to think that the oil industry is to blame, and in fact, Bernie Sanders is blaming top executives in the oil industry for what? Making oil? Gas? Diesel? I don't get it. The Democrats drive their cars all over the place, spend money on gas, and actually hate the oil executives. And now they really hate David Koch by applauding his death. But he scolded the crowd at the Minnesota State Fair. That's good. Thank you, Bernie, for scolding them. Oh no, 1 hour of him talking? I can't handle that. I can't handle 1 minute without vomiting. Yeah, and it's okay if Beto goes to Mexico for campaign rallies and gives money to immigrants coming over the border and to encourage more immigrants to come over the border. That was revealed by Veritas. Project Veritas actually interviewed campaign managers for Beto O'Rourke that actually funded immigrants to come over the border from Guatemala. Zeno, I wish you'd stop talking about how much money you have. You've never made a donation here. You've never given us any money. And you claim to be a U.S. citizen, and you keep bragging about how rich you are. So if you continue talking about how rich you are, it is a bannable offense here. All right? Thank you. Who's the guy who's bullying KY Poopy here? Does anybody know? Well, let's be clear. Okay, you've been accused of, you're not allowed to play with your body parts on screen. Yeah. That's inappropriate. According to Tiddly D, he will not allow it. So he's calling the shots. Tiddly D, just give him a mute. Don't ban him completely. But KY Poopy has been through a lot. He feels very, he feels like he's been life raped. And we're giving him a little, you know, if he tries to do that, playing with his body part on camera. This is the first time he's made an appearance in a long time, so it's hard for him to go on cam. He has been life raped from a young age. According to him, he's been tracked by people in his past. They harass him online out there in Kentucky. And he's been life raped. So give him a little latitude there, but if he does do that again, you can mute him. But thanks for asking. Well, that's good. A special prosecutor to get Juicy Smollett. He got off with. He should have had a couple felonies. Juicy bragged recently about how he's not going to pay a dime to the Chicago PD. No. Okay, I think we're done with the news. Trump raves over Macron. I'm not sure what that story was. I never got that completely. President Trump and the French President Emmanuel Macron having a bromance at the table on Saturday at the Hôtel du Palais in Biarritz, France. Biarritz, France. Lunching on a patio overlooking the Bay of Biscay. Trump gushed over Emmanuel Macron, the French president, the host of the weekend's annual Group 7 meeting held in this quaint beach town. But even as Mr. Trump bragged about what he called a special relationship with Mr. Macron, saying they have been friends for a long time, members of Mr. Trump's administration were publicly and privately dumping on the French president and his team. They complained that the focus of the summit was more on niche issues than the global economic challenges facing their nations. I don't know, I like niche issues. I mean, I think the New World Order puppet they're pulling Donald Trump's strings don't like the fact that they were talking about niche issues. What are those? Do they talk about who had the best niche? Is the broadcaster being ironic? No, I'm serious. He was life raped. Yeah. It wasn't easy. Many of us have been dealing with the terrible nature of online trolls and still standing strong. Jessica loves Jesus. Welcome, Jessica. Thank you for coming in. You are a very resilient person. I've been on the internet for 11 years and you're still out there doing what you do best because you believe in something. New York Viking is here, except he's not on screen like Jessica is. And we have the ability to cam up here in the show, so it's kind of a nice feature. I'm serious about everything. I'm never not serious. I'm serious about being funny sometimes. Yeah, I seriously get laughs too. As much as people want to claim that I'm no big deal, I really believe we're talking about the truth here every night. Recent testimony from Epstein. Hey, Club Kid, you're out of here. Donald Trump is a total scumbag for sucking up to Russian oligarchs and knowing full well Russia rigged the election. He also has been bribed, according to Mueller, on a sex tape that's out there by Russia. Now, you got your head clear up your butt. You need to get out of the room once and for all. You're banned. Okay, let's take a look at the Congress. Unbelievable. These Trump tards are in here every night. And they have no place to go because Trump won't talk to them. Trump has issues for sure. His mommy issues are not even evident. He's been diagnosed as having vagina envy. Donald Trump secretly probably wanted to be like his mother. I don't know. Well, let's be clear. That can't be seen, the C-SPAN video you just linked me. Can you get me a better link on that, like a tiny URL? Amber, come here. Amber's not being not a happy kitty. She wants to be with me. Amber, come here. Do you watch the Hallmark Channel? I don't, no. I've seen a few shows on it. I can't say I haven't watched it at all, but yeah, Amber's like constantly looking for attention because she's getting older and she likes her pets. Yeah. Meow. And there's a black cat outside that's been looking at her in the window. Pisses her off. You think Putin should have been let back into the G8? No. Trump is working for Putin. If Trump tries to keep getting Putin involved in things, we'll know for sure Putin is calling the shots. Trump's on very thin ice in terms of his relationship with Putin. Robert De Niro, yeah. So I think Putin is probably working directly with the oligarchs. I understand Putin's very rich, so he's kind of Trump's handler. And Trump is kind of a wannabe rich guy because he's not that rich compared to Putin. And Putin's made like $200 billion. Trump barely has $3 billion. Okay, there you go. Now, a geothermal energy system could be built in the backyard. That's a sustainable solution. Building your own geothermal energy system. I can't wait. Oh, this is futurism.com. Backers for Facebook's Libra cryptocurrency may jump ship. Whoa. He can't even get his backers to stay with his cryptocurrency. Okay, now we'll go to the link that Jessica gave us. Trump may cut security, and if he wins in 2020, let's see. Trump may cut security, and if he wins in 2020. Okay, wow. He may begin cutting Social Security and Medicare if he wins. He says he may begin cutting. Yeah, we got that 4 times. He described the potential move as a 2020 project. So this guy, he told the American people and the Republicans he would never cut Social Security and Medicare, and now he says he's going to do it in 2020. See what I mean about the liar he is? Wow. And you know, the Republicans want to push for a 70-year-old retirement, collecting Social Security retirement age. They're trying to raise it from 62 to 70, and they want to phase it in. I'm against that. I don't want to change retirement age. I think I've met a lot of people 62 that are ready to retire with their Social Security funds. It's 62, actually. You can start collecting at 62, but 65 is where you get your decent check. I won't be collecting anything. Yeah. I don't want Social Security at all. I want social insecurity. I know. What does Trump have? I believe it could be syphilis. Yeah, he has all the symptoms of syphilis. Chronic brain syndrome, advanced dementia. Yeah. Are you a psychiatrist? You might want to investigate that. Your dad's 60. He probably needs security, and he has health issues. Yeah. I'm 59 years old, and I feel so young. You know. I don't really have any issues. Knock on wood. Of course, I eat impeccably and avoid any types of drugs or alcohol. Trump is going to be processed as a criminal in the state of New York if he does lose the election in 2020. So if I win in 2021, I will assist New York in any way possible to make sure they move on the case of Trump. You know, I would have thought by now Trump would have reached out to me, having stolen over 15 of my ideas, but he never has. You know, so I have nothing good to say about Trump. Sorry. Oh, I have one good thing to say. Sorry. Our economy is still getting the Trump branding. I'll say 2 good things. And gas prices are pretty low because Donald Trump is doing whatever Putin tells him to do, and Putin told Trump to sell Saudi Arabia nuclear weapons. So I guess our gas prices are low because we're selling some nuclear weapons to a dangerous third world nation. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's clearly obvious to me he's got something wrong metabolically. His waist size is what, 50, 58 or 52? He should go on I think he should go on like a macrobiotic diet instead of the fish burgers and the Diet Coke. I think he should drink milkshakes with hemp and anise seed, and maybe even Gia powder from the Gia Pet, you know, Gia shakes. Yeah, that would be good for him. Yeah, so we've got low petroleum prices, and our economy is still fairly buoyant, even though it's having some ups and downs. So, like I said, if the economy does well up through 2020's election, he and the Democrats have already agreed to extend the debt limit past 2020. So August 21, I think it is, the debt limit's going to be dealt with again. So they've already allowed Trump to borrow money incessantly. So it really doesn't matter. The Democrats, Republicans are still going to put us deeper into debt. They're still going to borrow more money just to finance things. And technically, if the economy is going fairly well by the time the election comes along, Trump has a good chance of winning. He will lose the popular vote, just like Hillary, won the popular vote last time. But he could still pull all those states that have, controlled electorates that can vote any way they want. A ruling recently on the Electoral College, federal ruling, said that if a person in the electorate decides to switch his vote from the popular position, they can. Yeah, this was kind of a big landmark ruling that came out yesterday. Let me see if I can pull it up. Yep. Okay. Electoral College members can defy voters' wishes, court rules. So the chances of a rigged election in 2020 are very strong now. Your vote won't really matter coming up. So you'd think if the popular vote moves in the direction of one candidate, the Electoral College vote can completely flip. So in a state like Iowa, even if the Democrats win the Iowa caucuses, and even if the popular vote goes in the direction of Iowa caucus, the electorates can decide, even the Democratic electorates can decide to vote for Trump under this ruling. A Colorado elector, Michael Baca, second from left after he was removed from panel for voting a different candidate than the one who won his state's popular vote in 2016. It basically reversed the whole thing. It's the United States Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit in Denver said Colorado was out of bounds in 2016 when it canceled the vote of a so-called faithless elector named Michael Baca. He was a Democrat who wrote in the name John Kasich, a Republican who was running for governor in Ohio. John Kasich was the only person that got any electoral votes in Ohio. He beat Donald Trump in the Electoral College votes in the primary. Of course, that's his home state. He went back to being a governor. Amber had her CBD oil earlier. I think she's looking for another round of food. Well, if Trump is going to host the G8 next, and he's going to add Russia to this whole mix, and it looks like he's going to do that, it'll be obvious to the American people that Trump is working for Russia. It already is pretty obvious that Trump was controlled by Russia through the election. Anybody with a brain knows that Trump was manipulated by Russia throughout the whole process and knew that Russia was rigging the election for him. So essentially the Republicans cheated, and now they want to have overturn Roe v. Wade, so they're kind of waiting for Ginsburg to drop. And they just found out Ginsburg's got a tumor on her pancreas. But, I mean, the Republicans want to rig the courts against Roe v. Wade. So chances are the votes are going to go toward the Democrats because of that. the popular votes. But it could all flip the other way because remember, this is the new normal. The Russians are allowed to rig our elections, and the Republicans and Democrats are okay with that. Yeah, get a life. Advice for incels. Get a life. Yeah, you got to find a life and then others will join you. If you don't have a life, nobody's going to join you and have relations with you. How can the Russians rig the elections? Well, let's go back to how they rigged the elections in 2016, because the Mueller report revealed that they did, as well as Dan Coates, our intelligence top guy, who just basically resigned because Trump is denying Russia had any effect in the elections, even though they did. Okay, they had 182 million impressions on Facebook by Russians. Influence. That's one starting point. Yeah, 182 million impressions can rig an election and push the votes to one particular side. Now, I can probably say that James Comey did more to rig the election than the Russians, but I'm not so sure James Comey isn't working for the Russians. And I hope that Devin Nunes finds out some information about James Comey, because I think he's a deep state player working for the Russians. Mueller claimed Trump works for Russia, and he have reason to believe it. The investigation shows that Trump is working for Russia. They're calling this the new normal, people, and you're sitting there going, oh, okay. That means that the 2020 election will be rigged by Russia or any other country that manages to control our president or buy people off. It's interesting that the NRA is not speaking. I told you that last night. The NRA won't talk about anything. After Maria Butina said that she was essentially whining and dining NRA members and Congress members that support the NRA. We don't know how much of that $30 million that Donald Trump actually got from the Russians into the NRA hands to give to Donald Trump. We don't know that. Okay, Biden mistakes New Hampshire for Vermont during a campaign stop. Ooh. He praised the state of Vermont in New Hampshire. Here he goes.
Whoa! Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, Key. You know, well, I love you too, and I love this town. The danger might come back so often, I may not leave. This is God's country, man. What a beautiful town. I really mean it. Let me start off by thanking President Treadwell. She is here on a Saturday morning. She needs this like another hole in her head, but thank you for coming, Madam President. And I also want to state that, you know, there's a lot of things.
Did I miss something? I didn't hear anything about Vermont.
Hey, folks. How are you? Whoa. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, Key. You know, well, I love you too, and I love this town. The danger.
Opinion contributor John Solomon.
I'll take his word for it. I can't. Yeah, whatever. Who cares? The guy's he had 3 aneurysms prior to becoming vice president, and that's not healthy. And he had brain surgery, and he doesn't want to talk about it. So when you vote for Biden, you vote for a guy with a little dementia, okay? But isn't that what you're getting with Donald Trump, too? You have no way of controlling anything. You have been recorded. Your IP address is being watched. Not by me, though. Yes. Fake First Lady. Yeah. So somebody came up with Michelle Obama is a man as a Twitter account. There you go. That's the way to get the word out. Right on. There it is. See that picture right there? That's the one we play on our show. Yeah. And that shows the image of the obvious body part that Michael LaVaughn Robinson has. Yes, Michelle has an Adam's apple. That's plain to see. If you want to see it, I'll show it to you. Yeah, I don't mind giving you some of this, background on Michelle. So far, she has not decided to run for politics, so we're thankful for that. And she probably won't want to run for politics, but they would love to have Michelle run for president. The powers that be would love to put a transgender in as the first female president. Yeah, that'd be a kicker for them. That would be a dream come true for the Illuminati. There's a couple of photographs with Michelle holding her junk. This one in particular was not photoshopped. None of these are photoshopped. They've been tested to verify. Yeah, I bet you would. But this picture of her Adam's apple is well renowned. Well, let's be clear. Michael has an Adam's apple. This is unusual because, frankly, my chip prevents me from speaking about this. Beep. My chip memory has told me I am not allowed to discuss this. Beep. Yeah, Barack Obama has a chip. As plain as can be. I know. But more importantly, she has an she has an Adam's apple. So. The Obama scar. Yeah, since we're talking about Obama as well, let's be clear. When you're looking at this head here, right here, you see the scar, the chip in his head. Yes, you can see the chip in his head. It clearly has brain surgery scars on the back of his head. They put some sort of a chip in his brain, God knows what. And then Adam's apple revealed Michael LaVaughn Robinson former linebacker for Oregon State University in 1981, met Barack Obama down there at Occidental, and they hit it off. They were lovers at first sight, baby. And I got to tell you, we got a real situation on our hands where our country's been lied to by the best liars in the world. I mean, they pulled it off. You know, when they left office, Michelle Obama and Barack Obama were like, they both said to each other, and this is on camera, I don't have a film of it right now, but it was on camera. People say that they said, we pulled it off. We quote, and they both said it, we pulled it off. They both said this at the end of their term when they passed the torch of the White House to Donald Trump. We pulled it off. Is that some sort of an reference to masturbation? Does anybody know? Yeah, well, you've already determined you have testicular cancer and you refuse to go to a doctor, so what's the problem? Have you become a Christian Scientist and are pursuing that? Because they don't take any medicine whatsoever. They just ask the Lord to cure them. True believers ask the Lord. Well, that's right. You're an atheist. That kind of rules out any Christian belief. Oh no, not Trump. Don't think about that. That's a weird thought. We found out last week that Trump was taking enhancement drugs during his relationship with Ivana. She said all he did was take penis enlargement drugs. Ivana Trump said that. You voted for Trump and you're so upset he said he was the chosen one? Salted peanut. Thank you, man. Confessions of Republicans who are not happy with Trump. We're taking them in right now. I appreciate that, man. Salted peanut, you're not the only one. Republicans all around are wondering why this pompous ass continues to act like he's so wonderful, because he really is telling the truth. He was chosen by the Illuminati who worship Lucifer. So it's a big switch on you Christians that vote for him thinking he's helping you.
Chosen one. I am the chosen one.
Well, who, by Beelzebub? By the Illuminati, Luciferians? I mean, who chose you, Donald? Because clearly, you're not my chosen one. Yeah, I don't choose Donald as my chosen one. Yeah. And then you don't want to put any graven image before you. If you're an Old Testament person, you don't want to say you're the chosen one. That's like drawing attention. That's like idol worship. You want people to worship you like an idol, Donald? Is that what's going on? I know. Oh, you became a Scientologist? Just kidding. Okay. You're still wavering in the world of disbelief. That's normal. There's a Moore organization, Reverend Dr. William Barber, calling a poor people's campaign. Interesting. I'm not poor, I'm sustainable. I live in poverty, but I'm living a pretty good life in poverty. You know. Mobilization, organization, registration, education. A national call for moral revival. Mass poor people's assembly, a Moore march on Washington on June 20th, 2020. Well, he's getting a head start. How many, he's got 1,117 followers, about the same I have. Well, good luck, William Barber. I wish you all the help to help poor people, because poor people need help. I agree. Well, let's be clear. Bill Gates refuses to reveal why he flew on Lolita Express with Jeffrey Epstein. Whoa, so now it came clear that Bill Gates has been to Jeffrey Epstein's Lolita Express. Now I'm beginning to think it's all one big love fest going on up there. All the rich people like Matt Gruning, we showed you recently in the testimony from Virginia Roberts Giuffre. She said that she actually felt like vomiting when she had to rub the toes, the yellow crusty toes of Matt Gruning, the maker of Simpsons. Now Bill Gates refuses to reveal why he flew on Lolita Express with Jeffrey Epstein 4 years after his release from prison, while the billionaire was still chairman of Microsoft. That's right, his spokesperson refuses to explain why he flew there. From Teterboro Airport in New Jersey to Palm Beach with Jeffrey Epstein. And Epstein told people in the past he was a financial advisor to Gates, who was still the chairman of Microsoft at the time. A rep from Gates Humanitarian Foundation denied that Epstein ever worked for billionaire founder of Microsoft, but would not comment on the 2013 flight. A Gates spokesperson also stated that there was no financial or charitable ties between the two men. And Epstein had just been released from prison 4 years prior after pleading guilty to 2 counts of soliciting a minor under the age of 18 for sex. So why did Bill Gates visit him after Epstein was released on soliciting minors for sex? Why did Prince Andrew, do the same thing after Epstein was released in 07, 08? They went and saw him and hung out with Virginia Roberts Giuffre. Very suspicious. Well, let's be clear. Bill Gates is trying to ride out the storm. 1 week after it was revealed, had hitched a ride on Epstein's plane. Yeah. Good luck, Bill. Yeah, you gonna vaccinate your way out of that one? A lot of them are close to Epstein, Jessica, and I believe that Jessica may very... Thank you. Jessica, I believe that Epstein may very well be alive today and probably, doing some pretty nasty things, and I don't want to even get into the details. All I can tell you, Jessica, is I think there's a big-time cover-up going on. And I'm not on a limb saying that. Apparently a lot of people believe the same thing I do. Lolita Express, Ben Garrison. So Ben Garrison made a very funny comment about Matt Gruning and the testimony of Virginia Roberts Giuffre, and he wrote this amazing cartoon with smelly socks right over here, yellow crusty feet, and a Bart Simpson character, the little the underage minor wanting to vomit, and then Jeffrey Epstein looking at him going, yeah, call it Lolita Express. I guess her name is Lisa. Yeah, I don't track The Simpsons. Every time I see them, I get a sick feeling in my stomach because I knew a guy who actually delivered a cartoon very similar to Bart Simpson to Matt Groening in I think it was, gosh, I wonder when Life in Hell was first created. Yeah, Matt Groening claims he came up with the idea way earlier, but Life in Hell started in 1978. Yep. And that was right after I met Jeffrey. Very weird. Okay. I hope it works out for Matt. I hope things work out. I don't think he stole the idea from Jeffrey, but it was kind of weird. I don't mean Jeffrey Epstein. Okay. KY Poopy, thank you for coming in again and participating in our show. He's showing you what he's doing. He's eating. Let's take a look. KY Poopy is a popular guy on the screen. He's eating some rice. Is that burnt rice you're eating? Sarah's away from the desk right now. She'll be coming in for a quick cameo. Okay. Well, thank you, KY Poopy, for sharing your meal with us. Don't forget, you too can get press-on veneers like I have. You don't have to have missing teeth in your mouth. It'll change your whole persona when you're able to smile, you know, and reach people out there in the real world. Yeah. I want to help his recovery. He's been life raped. Seriously. Used to go to those Spike and Mike animation festivals. They had everything before it was on TV. Yeah, that's probably, you know, Matt Groening said he came up with the idea a long time ago. But the weird part about it is he claims, the claims have changed. Matt Groening at one point claimed he came up with the idea when he was working at Penny Lane Records in Venice. Now the wiki he says he came up with the idea earlier than that. So I don't get it. If it wasn't for my cast, you wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Well, you know, I've heard people actually tune into my YouTube channel over at Cool Rock. If you go to coolrock.com, which is where I'm watching the chat right now, you can see it on the screen here. I'll bring it up. No, that's not it. If you go to our site, coolrock.com, you can pull up this entire screen. And at the top is our YouTube channel, right here. Now that button will take you to our YouTube channel, and you can hit play, and it will play out continuously for 30,000 hours. So you just hit play, and it'll play 30,000 hours. I guarantee you'll fall asleep. It's a sleep tool I'm giving you. It's a guaranteed way. My dulcimer voice is so calming that people gradually just see it as white noise, and they go to bed. And they sleep a king sleep, a good, strong, double REM cycle king sleep. She has chosen a cedar casket. Why do you bring up such horrible things? She'll be coming in later. Yeah, I am kind of like white noise, yeah. Well, some people just don't realize what I'm saying because I say so much of it, and they don't really track what I'm saying because I seem to be bringing up so many issues. No, Cool Rock is not a Silk Road. I am not tracking any information whatsoever at Cool Rock. Nope. We don't do any cookie grabs. We're not offering you any kind of gimmick. There's nothing for sale. It's fun and it's free. And I'm going to add easy too. Now, one of the things about Cool Rock is you can move all the elements in here. Like this, you can move. You can X out of things. Say you want to put this over here and you want to move things around. By the way, this is the Web Oasis button that'll take you to anything on the internet. It's a pretty cool access point. But say you want to pull, one screen up and look at one screen and put them, line them with you, and say you want to play piano with an artificial intelligence. That's the artificial intelligence spitting back what I put in it. Okay, Misanthropy says this guy stole his ideas and ran with it on YouTube and wants to capitalize on it. Misanthropy came up with the theory that this is a fake thing. The rainforest fires are not happening, and this guy's profiting from it. He has 501,000 subscribers. He's obviously a YouTube whore, and Misanthropy's pissed off. I hear you, man. I'll add that to our show tonight. You can listen to this guy.
New York Times. I believe some people refer to it as the paper of record.
Okay, so listen to the YouTube guy later tonight. Sorry he took your ideas, man. David, don't know if you haven't visited Dallas, but they actually have an X on the street to where JFK was assassinated. Very creepy. I believe you. So anything you see on this site you can X out of. You don't like it. This is your site to do whatever you want with. You sometimes have to hit the X button a few times. There you go. This is a cool drum machine. You can customize it any way you want. And down below I've got some pretty amazing stuff. A harp. And here is pretty cool. I may hoist this up here to the side of the screen. You can play any one of these amazing croutons and watch them interact. Watch the dancing balls as they align in an array and form a matrix formulation using Boolean algebra, combined with digital JSON scripting. This is an amazing utility. We've got lots of things in here. You can just experiment. The center button, right next to the type button, is your access to a virtual reality cloud-based world, which is not seen on any other site. You can't find this at Google. You can't find this at Facebook. So I've got all this fun stuff for everybody to access. And, whoa. And this is all free. Up, up, and away in my beautiful, my beautiful. Here's a picture of Mars. You can travel to the red planet in a three-dimensional category. Whoa, cool. A young water world 3.8 billion years ago. This is a theory that Mars had water. And then you go out and scroll down, and you can actually check out Mars. Yeah, you rotate it. You can sit on it too. The Gale crater. And you can drag the panorama and check out Mars in up close and personal from photographs that have been re-engineered from the Martian landing, if you believe it. Isn't that cool? I mean, it's just one of the many things you can find on that button, that crouton button. And it's this one right next to the type button. There's the type button, it's the one right next to it. That's how you find it. And if you want news from all around the world, we've got that too. We've got all sides. And we've got a great story about America called America's Story. And explore every state. It goes to links within the states, and you can find out more and more about each one. Here's current stories about Iowa. Isn't that cool? Every state has a story at that site. All right, and if you hit refresh, everything pops back to normal. It says not secure up there, not because it's not secure, but because we haven't paid for a HTTPS site. If you have a problem downloading this or getting it to work, try using Opera. It works fine on Opera. A veritable solution when you use opera. Oh, I don't believe that David Hogg was alive when John F. Kennedy was assassinated, Salted Peanut. But there's a very good possibility that David Hogg was in fact Adam Lanza. Have you heard that conspiracy theory? Yeah, some people believe that there is solid evidence that David Hogg is Adam Lanza. Take a look at this picture right here. The faces were obviously aligned and they were studied. The opening of the eyes is one aspect that's slightly different, but when you look at other pictures, you begin to see a definite similarity. This scene right here is very indicative of what could very well be Adam Lanza. Now, David Hogg has a father who works at the FBI. I don't know if it's his natural father or his adopted father, but ironically, David Hogg was, along with Nicholas Cruz, the alleged shooter at the Parkland shooter, that guy, they both have government agents as fathers. Remember Nicholas Cruz, who was charged with the shooting, and we never saw photographs of him actually shooting a gun? And David Hogg? Both of their fathers are government agents. Isn't that interesting? That is weird, and I know. And they never really extracted a real confession out of Nicholas Cruz. He read it off of a script. It's pretty obvious they told him what to say. He was one of those young men that was controlled by the FBI from the very beginning. It's pretty obvious that the FBI has been grooming people to be pegged as lone wolf gunmen, or possibly even media sensations like David Hogg. Who knows? What have you been up to, Jessica? Have you been going to the pool this summer? Are you trying to engage Jessica in a conversation? Jessica's a very active person. She doesn't have to talk to you. She's at least camming up, which is more than I can say for you, Misanthropy. Some of you prefer not to cam up. I get that. Yeah. We've had a lot of people that prefer not to cam up, but you have a choice not to, or to cam up. But Jessica likes to be seen on camera, so she's very, very, very nice that way. Yeah. She's saying, responding to you, saying, Jessica says, not much Anthropy. She's not much sun, and yeah, not enough sun exposure. You know, it's best to stay out of the sun. David, show the fake NASA picture that was really Greenland. Oh, okay. Well, that's actually a film, and I can bring that up. I have a copy of a study of Greenland that has the same topography that is on Mars, which is very suspicious. Well, let's be clear. Yeah, I don't like David Hogg. I don't really think he's real. I think he's kind of a fake. Well, let's be clear. Here it is. Wrong video, sorry. I thought that was the one, but it's not. Where have all the people gone? Long time. There it is.
Hey guys, thank you for watching. Wait till you see this. If you haven't seen this already, man, wait till you see this. If you think for 1 minute that NASA has told you the truth ever in the history of their history.
It's not a one-day trip. Got their antenna set up out in the middle of nowhere in Greenland. Another ATV, a leveler equipment. So that was all that picture had. Let's see what this one's got. So this one here said roving the Arctic. So what is that? Doesn't make any sense. Pop in here. See if we can find anything. Again, same kind of mountains. That looks like the same kind of water I've seen before that I thought was water on Mars. Who knows? Zoom in, what's that? Oh, nothing. Just looked like it was funny. So I'll keep kind of going through here and see if it. What the? Yeah. So.
So he found the actual rover on Google Maps in Greenland. He just went on Google Maps and looked around. And he found the rover itself with the same topography as the Mars planet. They've been filming the Martian shoots in Greenland, and NASA can't explain this. Yeah. Here is a picture of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell strolling the streets of Paris with their underage sex slave in unsealed photos, which also show the apartment where the pedophile housed teen victims in New York City. Wow. We still have not tracked down Ghislaine. Ghislaine is still, they believe, in Massachusetts somewhere. But she did not appear in that picture at In-N-Out Burger that her agent sent. That was a Photoshopped copy of her. And a lot of things didn't make sense there. There's the apartment where they lured the young girls to. And here they are with a young girl. Virginia Roberts included multiple images of herself during the time she was being trafficked. And these photos were all taken right around 2000. There she was in some of those locations. Wow. Innocent girl pulled from her life, lured into a life of debauchery, and now wants financial recovery to happen. And with the assets of Jeffrey Epstein at $578 million after he allegedly died, I would think that his brother Mark is going to have to pay quite a bit to this young woman, being she seemingly has all the evidence she needs to back up her claims. Now, there is a concerted effort to get this story to disappear, and they're trying to shut the case down, and they're trying to use judicial means to do it. She says that Epstein took her on a ferry boat on one of the trips to New York, and there he took pictures. And she was 15 or 16 at the time. She was ordered to do all kinds of heinous acts with older men as part of her deal with Epstein. When she wanted to become her own, she wanted to go to massage school, he laughed. He thought she was kidding.
Sleeping on the job. The prison guards who were supposed to be checking in on the disgraced financier were reportedly fast asleep and faked log entries to make it look like they were keeping a close eye on Epstein.
Well, we all know that's a cover-up.
This news comes amid a major staffing shakeup at the correctional facility.
I don't believe there's a saddening shakeup at all. I think this is all cover-up. I'll play that later tonight, but it doesn't look like it's anything of any value.
It's a federal task force.
It's more like the mainstream media talking about everything we're supposed to be hearing. They're giving us information to put in our brains so that we can park our brains in La La Land and go, oh, I believe Jeffrey Epstein died. Oh, yeah. Yeah, thank goodness he's no longer living. He won't hurt anybody. Now, he's out there already grooming young girls for more sex acts with congressmen and congresswomen. We found out from Labor Secretary Acosta that he stood down on that sentencing period, 13 months of sentencing in 2007, because he was told that Jeffrey Epstein is in the intelligence community. That's pretty serious. If I were you as a voter, I would be worried about the two parties being compromised by people like Epstein. The only way we'll extricate ourselves from the mire of corruption that the two parties have brought us, the controllers, the financial controllers have brought us, is to elevate this third party to a higher level. We're never going to get any answers from the two-party system, ever. There's no one to call. You call the FBI, they'll hang up on you. So you worked in the military training with an M16, A2. Yeah, it's a whole different scene, the 9mm handguns, yeah. You're either trained in handguns or trained in rifles or both. Why do they censor me? Why did they steal my signs? What do you think? Are you still wondering why I'm being censored? That's pretty funny. Okay, well, I'm glad that he did a video. Thank him. Yeah, Epstein has dirt on all the people in both parties and global entities. They use this dirt to control politics. That's why he had to be kept in play. That's why they got him out. And they found a way to do it by planting a body that looked like Jeffrey Epstein. So having created a body that looked like Epstein in their minds doesn't make me convinced that he's Jeffrey Epstein. And I'm going and we'll be looking at the ear next week. Right now we focused on the nose this week, and we showed clearly that this is not Jeffrey Epstein's nose. The decedent's nose is way too curved to be Jeffrey Epstein's nose. And you can see clearly, I can see clearly now, his nose is different. Yeah, that alone is enough right there for me to be convinced. What the autopsy report doesn't seem to be able to convince me. Military branches compete with each other? Okay. So you're going to hunt with your guns and your Liberty safe? Okay. I didn't supermod him. No. Another brother, I have not supermodded him. He has not violated the mod laws here. He may be strict about his views about guns, but I'm not seeing any violation of his mod. You're just not getting along with him. You guys can disagree, it's okay. Just don't ban another brother for disagreeing with you. Otherwise, you would be in violation of your mod responsibilities. What kind of propaganda is Netflix going to ruin Breaking Bad with? I'm not sure. Breaking Bad is no longer a show. They stopped filming. Are they going to bring it back? That's pretty good. That hey, this just came in. Alyssa Milano is opening up about having 2 abortions. She's already had 2 abortions. She says, I knew I was not ready to be a parent. Well, that's very brave of her. Two abortions within months of each other? She officially ended more human lives than the NRA? Yeah, I agree. Whether I personally agree or disagree with abortion is irrelevant. Since I'm not a woman, I have no right to tell any woman how to take care of her reproductive health, not my body. I agree, Ian. We're reading chat here. If you consensually help make the baby and are willing to support it, you should have a say. You think the father should be able to tell the mother not to have an abortion? I don't know. The father's not carrying the baby. Right. Epstein had a good nose job, but his body double had a curved nose. Right. We have a conservative host. I mean, an op who's conservative. I let him in because he has every right to be here, and I want conservatives to know that I do carry the torch for conservatism. Not social conservatism, but fiscal conservatism. I'm not a socially conservative person. I'm more liberal. I'm more pro-choice, and I'm a little upset that they're trying to stack the Supreme Court against pro-choice, especially since they rigged the election with Russia's help. I don't think Tony Danza was involved with her. Was he? That lucky guy. Okay. No kidding. So Breaking Bad movie starring Aaron Paul coming to Netflix in October. Thank you. This is as good a news as I've heard all week. I heard Matrix 4 is going to be filmed soon with Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves is going to be in Matrix 4, and now they're going to make a movie. The film called El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie, will expand on the story of Jesse Pinkman, the excitable meth cook and former partner of Walter White. Well, I hope Bryan Cranston is in it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a Breaking Bad movie without Mr. White. Right, Mr. White? Well, that's good news. I actually hope it works out. Yeah, Walking Dead is not that great anymore. You think it's going to be a good one? Really? I don't know. I'm just not liking where the story went. How about the father is allowed to sign away rights and responsibility of being a father? He chooses not to abort. They do not. That would be kind of cool. They do that in more sane countries. We've talked about this in our show. If a father is willing to sacrifice all rights of ever visiting his son or daughter, he shouldn't be required to pay for that son or daughter, and he shouldn't have a say in whether the woman carries the baby or not. I like that idea. Yeah, we actually like that idea. Sarah and I have talked about it. It would relinquish the responsibilities of fathers under the deadbeat dad laws that are currently pretty much wiping out guys' incomes. I met a guy who worked at Home Depot. It was really kind of a sad case. I was sitting there talking to him about, the prices of washing machines. And he started telling me his whole life story. He was working there. And he said that he had been in 2 marriages, both divorced, had kids from both, and had major alimony payments up the yin-yang for both of them. And working at Home Depot was barely covering the minimum. He was clearly a guy living in hell. And he claimed that he even had a domestic violence case in his second marriage. So it clearly, I was looking at a guy living in hell. He had so many responsibilities, and it was so stupid of him for him to get married at a young age, and then get divorced, and then having a domestic abuse case against him. It's like, what a terrible situation. Talk about an unsustainable life. Okay, here's an official trailer for Breaking Bad, really? El Camino? Okay. Say hello to my little friend. Kind of reminds me of, it almost looks like, yeah. Scarface. Cool, I'll play that right at the end of our show. Yeah, that'll be kind of a cool thing around 10 o'clock. I can't play it now because they'll monetize it. But great, thanks for the link. Yeah, if you haven't caught Better Call Saul, first 2 seasons, I think it's coming on a 3rd season or 4th season. It's really good. Yeah, that Saul, the actor, he's really good. And it's a good story in and of itself. And another one to watch, if you guys want to talk about movies, Ozark. Got to see that. That's almost as good, if not better in some ways, as Breaking Bad. El Camino means the Camino. This is correct, man. But it may be about the El Camino car, the car it drives, It's a very popular car. Well, if Netflix has something to do with something, they own rights to certain things. So. What don't you like about Netflix? I don't get that. We're in the midst of watching the second season now of Game of Thrones. Looking forward to it. Yeah, Ozark. Wasn't that good? Salted Peanut? Yeah. Good movie. I'm looking forward to the next season of Ozark. It's going to get better. Oh, propaganda in films. You know what I noticed the most dominant factor in film today is the use of alcohol. It's almost in every single movie that you see. It's almost beyond belief how much alcohol they drink on screen in a lot of these movies. I mean, there's some movies where Jessica Jones, this hardcore woman, aka human phenom, plays a superhero. And I've been watching Jessica Jones. The new series is out. Jessica Jones belts down booze all day long. I've never seen her eat one thing on the show. She's just like drink, drink, drink. Everything, a few minutes, she grabs a bottle and just drinks and drinks and drinks. They used to have cigarettes, you know. Actors would sit and smoke cigarettes. But no, this woman just constantly pounds liquor. And this is true in a lot of shows. No, seriously. We're being mind controlled to force us all into thinking, oh yeah, it'd be cool to drink liquor all the time, you know. Meanwhile, you become an alcoholic and bye-bye your independence, and you'll be hooked up to that bottle the rest of your life. All you think about is getting that next bottle of booze. Now, that's just not a sustainable life. If you drink consistently for 2 weeks, you will be an alcoholic. That's how strong the hooks of alcohol are. You'll have to have a drink every day. So avoid drinking consecutively for more than 2 or 3 days, and break it up and take about 4 days off. Yeah, there's a worm at the end of the bottle if you're drinking triple sec. It'll worm right into your life. I know people from my youth that now look like they're 20 years older than me because they drink all the time. Seriously. I'm sorry, it's not triple sec. It's another. This is how little I know about booze. What's that worm booze? Yeah, it's not triple sec. You're a big drinker, huh, KY? There's a worm at the bottom of one of those bottles. Your dad is an alcoholic. He's almost 80 and he still works and lifts weights. His liver must be made of platinum. Let me ask you a question. Does your dad drink beer or wine or hard liquor? What's your dad drink, Salty Peanuts? Beer, wine, or hard liquor, or all three of the above? Beer. Your dad will live a whole full life, no problem. But if he drinks hard liquor, bye-bye liver. Beer has a component in carbohydrates that actually help preserve your strength, build glucose, and actually I've known people that drink beer and are actually 50 years into drinking beer and haven't been affected. Same with wine. Consistently wine drinking, you can actually have a normal life. So if you are an alcoholic and you're hitting the hard booze, just back off to one or the other, beer or wine, and you should be okay. I'm not trying to encourage you to buy beer all the time or wine, but if you get into the hard liquor, it takes you over the edge. I've known many people that have died at a young age because of booze that's hard liquor. It does, but believe me, it's not moderation per se. It's how you're hitting your liver. If you're hitting it with one particular drink like a beer, it's not changing the chemistry too much. If you're hitting it with one particular thing like wine, it's not changing the chemistry too much. But you hit it with sugar, water, Coke, and rum, bye-bye liver. And the liver never gives you any warning because there's no nerve cells in there. You'll never have pain in your liver. It just won't work anymore and you'll die. You'll turn yellow and get jaundice and you die. It's mezcal, thank you. It's not triple sec. Mezcal has that worm in the bottle. Every single bottle has a worm in it. That'll mess you up, the mezcal will. Contrary to popular belief, a true tequila does not contain a worm. It is only in mezcal, a closely related beverage. So mezcal is not a true tequila. Hola, buenos dias, buenas noches. We are here to talk about tequila. Tequila. KY Poopy's been having some recent bad effects from alcohol. Well, this is good advice I'm giving you, KY Poopy. Stick to one or the other, beer or wine. Don't get into hard liquor. Yeah. D High got into hard liquor, and he comes in our show once in a while. He's gone. I mean, he'll never get out of hard liquor. D-high. You can't get a pleasantness in the past month. Well, like I said, pull back off the hard liquor and you'll begin to normalize. And get down to about 5 beers a day. You'll be better. New York Viking has got a Nicolas Cage thing floating around on his screen. In love with Nicolas Cage as an actor, not as a person. I'm not saying you're gay. Yeah, that's cool. Whoever your star of choice is, starry, starry night, paint your palette blue and gray. Hey, who do we have over here in the far reaches, the Netherlands? Is that another brother? Oh, Zelfire's in here. Yeah, Zelfire came in with his... He's smoking a cig, which is his choice. They're trying to make vape to be like a bad, dangerous thing. And I read an article that vaping is really dangerous. But they didn't cite one symptom. They said dangerous respiratory problems from vaping. They can't cite one single symptom of a dangerous respiratory problem. I don't believe it. Vaping has like 5 chemicals in it. Cigarettes have 50 to 100. So I'm not really sure if their anti-vaping legislation, like in California, is really merited or warranted. I mean, they may just not want people to vape because they're not getting tax revenue from it. The tobacco lobby is really kind of pissed, and the government in California and Washington and Oregon, they derive a lot of their revenue from the cigarette tax. Nicotine is a stimulant, yes. Very much so. It'll get you stimulated. 130 people expected of lung problems from vaping. Yeah, but where are they? What's it all about, Alfie? That was weird. Okay, we're going to take a look at... why are we looking at the picture of Mark and... Mark Epstein and Jeffrey Epstein. The person who will be inheriting Jeffrey Epstein's estate is Mark Epstein, his brother, who he claimed he never did business with Jeffrey, but he'll be inheriting $578 million. If I were the government, I would track every single dollar that man has and make sure it's not going back to Jeffrey Epstein secretly or surreptitiously. Yeah, Jessica Jones is this really pretty woman who, yeah, she's kind of like a blazingly beautiful and kind of out there woman. I like the show Jessica Jones. I'm still watching it. She plays a superhero who has special powers. It was one of the original Stan Lee shows before he died. The first Marvel show on Netflix is what it is, yeah. I wonder if Jeffrey Epstein